Good evening, everyone.
What's going on, Mr. Professor?
Oh, you're going on. How you doing, my friend?
Oh man, can't complain, can't complain. How you been doing?
Doing well. Icky day here in New York, and we're getting ready for our first possible snowstorm later this week. So I'm not looking forward to shoveling. I'm getting too old for that shit.
Hey, I remember my time of being in upstate New York when I was in the army, man, in Fort Drummond. Boy, we got a lot of it. But I loved it growing up in South Carolina on the beach. Everybody be like, "Did you like snow?" Hey, you got to understand. Where I grew up at, we only saw snow maybe once every 8 years.
Yeah,
And when we got it, it wasn't nothing to talk about. As soon as it hit the ground, it would be gone.
yeah. My wife's from upstate New York, and where you
Okay.
were, that's even north. So you were in brutal air territory.
Yeah. So let me guess what part up north? Let me guess. She must have been there, what, Oswego or near
God, you're
Buffalo?
on the first one. I can't believe you got that. Oswego. Yeah, absolutely. Which for the salute to the chat and everyone, that's about an hour past Syracuse.
Yeah, we know all about it. That whole area, Sackett's Harbor.
Yeah. It
I
was it
tell
was a shock for me the first time seeing like bulldozers with tires that are like 2 stories high because this says it all. I went there in late July and they still had, because of them piling up snow and the insulation factor of snow, they still had a snow mount in late July there, man.
yeah, I tell you
How
what,
are
when I got back from Somalia, we got back and we got back in March and snow. We were in the two-story barracks and I lived on the bottom floor. Snow was all the way up to the top of the roof of the building, and that snow didn't melt until May.
Yeah, it's nuts. Good evening, gentlemen. How are you, Rob? How are you, Kevin? Hope all is
Stephen
well.
Fox, what is going on, good sir?
What's going on
Everything,
there, Rob?
Rob. If you're
Kev
muted.
Vito?
You're muted, Rob.
What's up?
Ain't much, man. Looking forward to this next game. I wish it was. I wish they would have played tomorrow. I hate when it be like 2 or 3 days before another game come on, especially after a loss.
What, so you can complain again?
Nah, I ain't gonna complain this year, man. You know what? I shouldn't say that. I'm gonna call it like I see it, but I just hate when we come off a loss. It's easier to handle when you don't won the game, but coming off a loss is rough.
Yeah.
I don't
And
even call them losses no more.
what do you call
They're
them
not
then?
losses yet.
But
They
you know what,
just
fellas? You know what's the
practice.
encouraging thing? Because I try to peel some, try to look for the bright spot in everything, even when stuff seemed bad. As terrible as we played in that game, we had a chance to win that game.
Yeah.
Let
I
that
don't
sink in.
I don't know if that's positive for us or negative for Detroit.
I think it's positive for us and negative for Detroit because we played terrible. You just look at them numbers, you be like, oh, the Knicks got blown out, but it was because of that defense that we
Yeah.
didn't get blown out.
I watched the game again. I watched both games earlier parts of the day, and I got a problem with Tibbs.
Yeah,
Oh,
we're
Uh-oh.
with Tibbs now. Don't tell me you gonna blame Tibbs to cover up
No,
Julius
I
Randle's
have a
mistakes.
no.
I want to hear
No.
this.
yeah, we're definitely
You're already against me and didn't even hear what I got to say. You might even agree with me.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm all ears.
Yeah.
We're definitely going to get into that. We just want to do a quick shout out to the chat. Hope everyone is well. Um, just shout out to Greenhouse. I am K-Ban. How are you, fellas? Gregory Levin. Sima Singh, one of the great mods of all time, along with Bodega Wi-Fi.
Thank you.
Touch me ball. Hope all is well, Noah. So, panel, we have some good news and bad news. Is the good news is that we got a glimpse of our season ahead of us, and that will be teams will learn with Detroit yesterday, and they're going to be implementing the 3-2 zone to pack the paint and stop the lobs to Obi and Mitch and make us shoot threes. Can you hear me, Guillermo? Guillermo should be joining us in a second, and that'll be wonderful. One of my favorites. But the bad news is that we don't have a point guard on this team that can drive, penetrate in order to break down and collapse that defense other than Peyton. and who, Ron, you touched on perfect word yesterday, inconsistency. That's what his career has been marred by. So, in addition, besides Alec Burks, we don't really have anyone on this roster that's a proven three-point volume shooter. Knox looks absolutely bewildered out there. Frank has only shot a little less than 2.5 threes attempts in his career, and is only effective really in the left corner. He shoots 10% lower from the right corner. Bullock and Austin Rivers has only averaged a little over 3-point shots in their career. Quickly's untested. And as you know, it's a lot harder being a knockdown 3-point shooter with the elite defenders in the NBA. So I have great respect for the minds on this panel tonight. So we're going to talk about what adjustments that you think that Tibbs can make. And I think this may be the best opportunity for Tibbs to do his best coaching job ever. But I'll kick it off, and then we'll throw it around that after watching the game again tonight or today, I think the only possible solution I see is that we changing our offensive scheme by utilizing the youth and athleticism on the roster and implement a run and gun offense that gets quick outlet passes, gets us in transition to feel fast breaks. If we continue to walk that ball up and go into half court sets, we're dead. And the only thing I think that'll be good out of it is that we're going to get a great 2021 draft choice. So let me kick it off with my man, the legend, Mr. Ron Cleveland. It's yours.
First off, peace out to the chat. Hey, you guys are the best, man. I be looking at y'all comments. Unfortunately, I can't type and talk at the same time. But I enjoy. You guys are very insightful. Looking at what we can do, I'm with you, Steve. I was thinking about this. I wish they'll just open that offense up, let them young boys run. I mean, we've been talking about letting them run in practice. I mean, that's what they've been saying, right? Tibbs said he wants an up-pace offense, and they're not really running. I don't know how many fast breaks per game we've had so far, but they're not really running the ball. Running up in the court. And I really would like to see our young players together. I would like to see a starting lineup. If we're going to commit to finding out what DSJ is, even though most of us already know what he is, we need to just go ahead and start DSJ, start RJ, start Knox, start Obi, and start Mitch. Because what I'm seeing right now is not a doubt in my mind that there's a trade coming. And if there's a trade coming, we need to just go ahead and let these guys run, let them get time, because we all recognize it's a rebuild year. We're not looking for playoffs. If it happens, that's great. I'm always an optimistic guy, but I'm also a realist. If we continue to put out the product that we've been putting out these 2 games, only thing we're going to do is continue to be competitive, but we're not going to win many games. If you can't shoot, you won't win. And if you can't shoot, you need to run to get easy baskets. That's my thought.
Yeah, real quick before we get to you, Kevin, hi, Guillermo. Hi, Cornerstone Kev. Hope all is well with you guys. Good to see you.
Great to be here, guys. Great to be here, Steve. Still doing a great job, Steve. Just let you know that.
Just trying.
Absolutely.
Hey, the man with the velvet voice, Kevin. It's yours.
I agree with you. I agree, and it's something that I don't understand, because Tibbs came out last week and said that he wanted to utilize the team's youth and athleticism and get up and down the court. And for the most part, from what we saw the first 2 games, it is a lot of half-court sets. They've tried to, I guess if you want to call that, push the ball from time to time, but the only time that was really effective was like the second quarter where the second unit was in of the first game. That's the only time I really saw a consistent up-tempo approach, was when the kids were playing. And this is minus RJ. But that's hard to kind of do. It's one thing to say get up and run, and it's a difference between being able to execute. I don't really even trust DSJ to lead a up-tempo offense or a half-court offense at this point in time. He just doesn't have the awareness to do that. I mean, the 2-man weave is something you're taught as a kid. So
Basics,
I don't
man.
even know if he can run that right now. So we'll see what happens against Cleveland. It's all the beginning part of the season is all about seeing what these players can do. So we'll wait until game 3.
Yeah. Rob, my man.
Okay, I think that they should since it's just preseason, as I look back on the games, I'm seeing that people are like the young players, and it's to me, it's still practice, even though it's preseason, it's still practice because of the shortened season. I don't see where as though anybody, I want to see somebody get enough minutes to fail miserably. Not that we always have to think about it the next day. Well, he only had 16 minutes. Well, he only had 12 minutes. He didn't have a chance to do this. He didn't have a chance to do that. And I feel as though Tibbs should put him in that situation. Look, the training wheels are off. Go out there, fail miserably. If you can't handle it the next day, that's on you. Then we know where you're standing. So every time you look at a player that we have, even from DSJ to Frank and everything that's in common that is there, 15 minutes, while somebody else is getting 30, that's not the point guard. If you look at Frank's minutes, DSJ minutes, okay, nobody got 30 minutes in 2 of those games. But even Peyton didn't barely got 30 minutes. Nobody got 30 minutes. What's the hold up for us to see exactly what these point guards can do? I want to see them fail miserably so they want to come to practice and do something. And we as fans are not getting that.
Yeah.
That's why we come up with all of these assumptions on what they're going to be, what they're going to do. And it's practice. I don't want nobody to say you earn it in the games because this is not a game. It's practice.
Allen Iverson's smiling right now.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Cornerstone Kev, what's happening, my friend? It's yours.
Hey, everything's everything. COVID has really hit our sport really hard. The reason why I say that is because we have young players on our team that we probably won't even get a chance to see on the court within these next 2 games. So you have the veterans in Peyton, Randall, Burke, and soon to be Rivers. You have all these veterans here, and we still can't get a handle on what our young guys can do in limited minutes. So I'm in agreement that I do want to see DSJ, Frank, Knox, Mitchell. I want to see them out there in the beginning to start, because we got to really see, we got to get a good feel on what these guys can actually do. It's a shame that the circumstances for them aren't as good as they would be for like a Barrett and a Toppin, and I'll throw Quickly in there, because those circumstances for Knox, Frank, and DSJ, again, they didn't have the development or the support that this coaching staff is doing for RJ Barrett and the rest of these young guys. So I feel bad for them, but like Gilmore always says, it's a dog eat dog world. This game is not kind. It's not meant to be, I'm probably saying it wrong, but it's not meant, it's not meant to be your friend. It's a dog eat dog world. So what I'm getting at is I want to see more of the young players out there, and I want to see a better, from an intensity standpoint. I want to see the team come out and just show what they're capable of doing, like they did the first game. It was like a totally, who are these guys? And then game 2, it's like, oh, these are these guys again. Same dilemma. So that's pretty much it. I just want to see a better intensity on the defensive end. Everything. So.
Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only Legion of Knicks is in the house. Guillermo, how are you, my friend?
Yo, what's up, guys? How you doing, man? I'm just laughing. This is funny. All you guys, it's almost as if a funeral occurred, man. You guys are all.
Girl, are you laughing?
Yo, it's calm before the storm.
Never dull moment. Never dull moment.
I tell you guys, it's better to be objective because it gives you better perspective. This season was always going to be ugly, right? Everybody's sitting here after the first game. Oh man, Obi Toppin. Oh my gosh, yo, you so deep. It's like dogs. It's a preseason game. 1, 2. Tom Thibodeau obviously is throwing out lineups to see. Tom Thibodeau's not an idiot. Like I've heard people say, "Oh, Tom Thibodeau's not the right coach." It's like, dog, shut up. You know what I mean? Like,
who said that?
On Twitter, not any of you guys on Twitter.
Man.
And of course, I don't necessarily take people what they say on Twitter like, oh, that's but it's just like you see some of the comments from Knicks fans, just like, and so for instance, right, Tom Thibodeau is trying to see. One thing I like what he did was that when the Pistons started to run zone, I'm not sure exactly. I don't think he gave those guys too much instruction, right? He wanted to see where those guys' intelligence level was at, right? When you see certain defensive adaptations, right? What do you do? What do the players do naturally? And one guy who got exposed is DSJ. Like I said, needs to be in the G League. When they're running, these guys are running zone. He's calling for a pick and roll at the top or the wing. And it's like, have you ever played against a 2-3, even a 3-2 zone? Like literally, I played for one of the worst high schools, or at least at the time, Wilton High School in Connecticut. And our team was Garbaggio. But at the very least, I studied. It was like when you see a 2-3 zone, you play 3 up top, 1 at the foul line, 1 at the box, and those 2 at the box and the foul line are changed, right? They keep mixing it to try to create space based on how the zone is playing you. If you play a 3-2, obviously you play a 2-1-2. But in both those sets, what do you have? You have a zone breaker at the foul line, right? Go look at what Rondo did against the Heat when he played zone.
He kept getting in the paint. He kept getting down there in the middle,
right,
and would kick it out into them shooters, and it broke them out of that zone.
Right, and the fact that the Knicks, except for once where I think it was Quickly and Frank, who I think it was either Frank or Quickly passed it to somebody at the foul line. They passed it to somebody at the wing, and they passed it to Obi, who flashed near the foul line, but it turned into a turnover. You know what I'm saying? And I got to watch the game again just to make sure that was the only time I saw it. But, for a team, again, Tom Thibodeau, he's not say he's Machiavellian, but, he's kind of like Dr. Light from Mega Man, if anybody remembers Mega Man, right? He's putting all these guys together, and he's trying to see, okay, if I put these guys in this scenario, what do they do? Because that's going to allow me to say, okay, this guy just doesn't understand basketball on a certain level. It doesn't matter how athletic DSJ is. It doesn't matter how good this guy is and this and blah, blah. If you do not have the cerebral intelligence to understand a game on a high level, look, the dude Thibodeau ran the triangle 3 times yesterday. 2 times in the first quarter. I definitely remember the times. It was 7:58 and 10 something in the first quarter. I can't remember the third time. But he ran the 2 times that I saw him. It led to errant passes. At least one I remember somebody tried to make a pass to Nerlens Wells and it went awry, right? So he's trying to see where these guys are. Again, you get these veterans for base level, right, production, right? People are saying, oh, you killing the youngsters. They can't get it. Well, guys, the youngsters played. They couldn't adapt to his zone. And they probably were no match, especially when Tibbs probably was playing the triangle the first unit. They probably no match to run a triangle. So this is what I'm talking about when I say you bringing in veterans who most likely understand the game on a higher level. He most likely will depend on those guys because the youngsters just don't get it right now. So again, right now everything is ugly. You want it to be ugly. The person I think that might be the worst position is obviously DSJ, just because he doesn't project as a point guard. He can't pass out the double teams. He's calling the pick and roll against a zone.
Can't shoot.
Freaking, and besides that, he can't play off ball. So again, like I said, he needs to go down to G League, right? But again, this is a learning period for these guys, right? So the best thing for these guys, like Knox yesterday, rushing shots. You know what I mean? Just trying to force. Everything's not about just playing off of confidence, right? It's playing with smarts. The smartest players in the NBA aren't sometimes the most athletic or the most naturally gifted. They're some of the smartest players that can process plays. And think about the Knicks, we have such a low IQ level on this team. So what Tom Thibodeau's doing, what he did especially yesterday, when he let the second unit just play out there and see how they'll adapt to the zone. And you said Julius Randle freaking at the Julius Randle was at the perimeter, dribbling the ball against, like, what are you doing, man? So I don't have a problem with it. It's gonna be ugly basketball, but you know, I'm just waiting to see what other machinations my boy Tom Thibodeau has to see what he has with the rest of these players.
Hey, real quick, Gilmo, real quick, how do you attack that zone again? I mean, in general, how do you attack it?
If you're playing a 2-3 zone, right? You keep one person at the extended top of the key or in the middle. You keep two at the wings. You keep a person you keep a zone breaker, typically a big man who kind of pass or drive to the basket, right at the foul line, right? And then so because in the 2-3 zone you have the two up top and you have obviously the three in the middle, right? And obviously in the NBA they don't play strict because of the illegal defense, you have to be near your man. But you know you could kind of find it, you could kind of circle around, you know, man, and all that stuff. So that zone breaker, the guy at the foul line, if the person say one of the wings, and some of the wings they extend out to the corner too, right? So you kind of make it fluid so the spacing is kind of correct. But that person at the foul line, they catch that ball, right? That person at the defender at the three in the middle, they're sometimes going to cheat up, or maybe the defense kind of collapses, and that's where that zone breaker passes out to the perimeter guys, or perimeter or the corner guys, right? Or he drives to the back.
They got to be able to make the shot.
If you go back, if you want a good example, Kevin, go to like game 6, go to like game 6, 5, or 4 of the Heat versus the Lakers, and Rondo played that zone breaker.
He killed them repeatedly. It was running the same thing.
It was text.
Yeah, it was him and AD who were running that zone breaker like perfectly. And I was out because usually for that zone breaker is usually like a big man who could pass, just because you're like a century point. You can kind of see everything and you kind of make those passes. But Rondo doing it, I said, what the F is this? So those are extremely great examples to see how you play a zone break against a typical. I think I was a 2-3, and then obviously in the 3-2 you play 2-1-2. But you know,
shout out to Jason too. He said Marcus Morris was doing that last year for us. Yeah.
Hey fellas, is my audio okay on my mic? Do you hear me okay?
Yep.
Yeah, you sound fine.
Okay, fine. I just wanted to make sure settings wise. Thank you. Hey, let's talk a little more about DSJ. I watched the game today, and I think the play that symbolized the issues that pissed me off about this dude was that backcourt violation. He has absolutely no court awareness, whether not knowing where the half court line is, seeing the double team coming in the trap that you touched on. I don't want to hear about a stint in the G League with this dude. At this stage, his basketball IQ is what it is, and I really don't think this kid watches any film. You know, and if he does, it just doesn't translate to the court. All you see him do is dribble, or pick up the dribble, but virtually no driving to the basket with all that athleticism that we hear about. Last but not least, every bad performance that this kid, you know, goes and sends his confidence into the abyss, and it's just going to fester some negative energy. And in fact, I saw today, let me just bring this up.
Article in the New York Post.
Yeah, my friend, that a couple of NBA scouts, one who witnessed both games, said he's probably not a true point guard, which was the nice thing. But the other one was Dennis just looks awful as a player and a teammate. He has zero feel, and you question if he has any vision. So let's kick it off. Guillermo, you want to go?
Wow.
And this is about what?
A DSJ, just you think there's any way that he can be resurrected after watching, and we know it's only 2 games, chat and everything, but he just doesn't seem to have any IQ, and I don't think any stint or anything. So I'll let you take it, my friend.
No, and I'll just be real quick because I know other guys want to get. So no, can't pass out double team. Can't process the game at a higher level. I was having this argument with Chuck earlier today on the morning show, and he was like talking about how, and I said, well, Chuck, tell me this: if DSJ is so good athletically and can get a first step on anybody, right? Why is he always calling the pick? Why is he always calling for Mitchell Robinson? Why is he always calling? And anytime you have a straight up defender who's not even necessarily a great defender, who just stay in, just get in front of him. If DSJ can't dribble past him, DSJ always picks up his dribble, or he makes that shot that gets blocked, right? So again, DSJ can play off ball, which I wish, all this talk about shooting, I wish he would have said, hey, coach, maybe play me a little bit more off ball. Maybe I can showcase some skill that way, because you need value from the guard position. Again, Tom Thibodeau likes guards who could dribble, drive, and shoot off the dribble, score off the dribble, right? And scoring that two-man game. DJ can't really do any of that. And there's another. I'm not gonna get the book because I have the notes there. Go look at the play. I think it was second quarter, right, where he called off Obi, right? He called Mitch Robinson to set the pick. Mitch Robinson sets the pick, gets to the basket. DJ does not make the pass because he can't make that thread pass. And that's the same thing I said when I was on MBK on my own show too. I was saying, DJ, he couldn't make that pass last season. He still can't make that pass this season. So again, he needs to go down to G League and truly find his game. Staying up here, honest to God, I think Miles Powell should get a look over DJ. You're talking about one of the guards who can score, because Miles Powell's not the greatest of pass, not really the greatest facilitator. He just kind of asked to do a little bit of that with Seton Hall. But I'd rather have Miles Powell, who can at least get to the basket against his man, can shoot off the dribble, on the dribble. The dude could score. I'm not saying he's going to do it on a high level in the NBA, but he could do it better than DSJ. DSJ needs that Trey Burke resurrection to his career. So
Quickly can do it better. He did a pick and pop with Hoban. He saw a double team coming. He's never really played that. He played better than DSJ yesterday. In that tiny little stint, you could see he had better vision. Cornerstone Kev?
Yeah, I totally agree with everything Gilmore was saying. He just does not look comfortable as a point guard, a person that's facilitating. And he looks like a person that's needed to be on the wing, pretty much.
Off ball.
Off ball. He needs to be, be the off ball. Matter of fact, I would rather they switch it and have Frank be that person, that facilitator, and have DSJ be the off ball, because I keep saying it, and I get a lot of pushback, especially from Chuck. I think Frank could be that facilitator that people are looking for, because I've seen him. He's able to get those lobs and everything to Mitch. He's able to get those passes to pretty much to anyone he wants. I saw towards the end of the year him trying to look for his shot, driving in and trying to look for that jumper and everything. DSJ just doesn't. I think it's hard in the summertime. He was working on the shooting. I think it's hard to really practice being a facilitator when you're playing against below NBA talent, in the summertime, as opposed to playing against guys in the G League. So I'm in agreement with Gilmore about him probably taking some stunts in the G League, because right now he just does not look comfortable as the backup point guard. And it's ironic because last year, at least for me, the consensus was that he was going to be the starter over Peyton. And we saw how quickly that, dissipated. And we were saying, but it was probably Fizdale or the system that Fizdale was trying to run. And now we bring in Tibbs, and I see Tibbs, each game trying to engage with the DSJ, how to, I don't know what they're, talking about on the, on the offensive end, but I think he's trying to reach him, and it's just not, sinking into it. Now, again, it's only two games. So I want to see what happens in against Cleveland. I don't know who the backup is for Cleveland and everything. I know starting off, I know it's Sexton and
Garland.
yeah, Garland. So yeah, again, I don't know who's backing them up, but still, I'd rather see Frank be the facilitator and DSJ be the off ball person because he doesn't look comfortable being the facilitator.
Must be brutally frustrating for Tibbs because all we hear about was DSJ getting shooting guidance from Raouf, but Tibbs went down to Carolina and worked with him. So it's like, what the hell did I spend time doing with this kid? And he still can't get out of a trap and stuff.
And more importantly,
yeah,
that actually signaled who we were going to draft because they did that. He did that after they had visited with Kyra Lewis.
Yeah, exactly.
So let that sink in.
Rob,
but I'm happy with Obi.
Sorry. Yeah. Take it, Rob.
Well, I just want DSJ to be out there long enough so everybody in Knick Nation knows that he is not the guy and he won't be the guy. He got too many shortcomings. Right now, how old is DSJ? About 22?
Probably.
At the max, maybe.
About
23.
23. He just looks out of shape. It looks like, that. And then he even looks slower than he did last year. And him picking up the ball now that he has time to dribble the ball, it just doesn't help. So, he just needs to be out there long enough so we'll know that he's not when he cut and he goes someplace else, there's no way he's going to turn it around. It's no way. So
when he went to I'm sorry.
He is what he is. Maybe the two I offered that early in the summer about him going to the two because I already seen this last year. But now it's not a back injury. It's nothing that he can put it on, but we getting the same play.
Yeah, we saw him dunk too. So there you go.
I really feel as though they dumped him for a reason.
Carlon
in the trade. So
yeah.
I'm done. Me personally, I'm done with him. But I still want him out there about 20 to 30 minutes so everybody else can be done with him.
Yeah. And like I said before, body language, when he went off the court, Tibbs was talking to him. And instead of him having eye contact with Tibbs, his head was down. And
okay, I didn't notice that. That's amazing. Okay. See, I didn't see all that. I mean, I saw him talking to him, but I didn't notice that, that his head was down there. So he looked disinterested.
Not disinterested, just sad. Like that I can't get my game together, man. I can't get my game together more than disinterested. Like, what the hell do I have to do to make this work? I'm trying, but the harder I try, the worse I do.
Can I ask something real quick?
Yeah.
No, this is freestyle. Let's go, fellas.
When these guys, this is what I get mad about, right? When these guys go home, right? Or like, what are they doing? Are they watching film? Are they talking to coaches? Because you can work with Abdul Rauf to fix your shot. Or that's great. Whatever you did the same thing last year in terms of so-called fixing your shot, not with Abdul Rauf, but a lot of the things come from if you understand the game on a higher level, things come to you a lot easier. Like if you listen to some of the best players, Kobe, Jordan, even LeBron with his disgusting photography, they can now talk about execution in certain spots, and that's a compliment to LeBron.
No doubt.
And the thing about it is that sometimes when you hear them talk about the game, right? You hear them process it. Like when this guy does this, blah blah, I'm supposed to do this, blah 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 blah. And that's like, okay, that's basketball 101, right? 101. What is DSJ doing? What is Knox doing? What are these young guys doing when they go home? I'm not saying you have to rest and you can play a little Fortnite, whatever. I'm not getting on that, but it's like you've been in the league for a while now.
Calm down, Kev.
They're not like a bunch of new zones are being created to stop the Knicks because we suck. So it's like you're seeing basic things like they're going to zone and whatnot. You should be calling, yo, Obi, get the foul line. Yo, spread out. Like I play intramurals and I play against kids or when before the whole COVID. I was playing against guys who weren't the most athletic, but it's like if we wanted to go out and we're playing against them, they'll play our zone and we call out, 2-3, and we switch. So I'm like, if we could get it and we're bums, These guys are getting paid millions of dollars, don't go home. They have league pass, they have all the games, they have coaches, films, all that stuff, right? They're not consulting and talking to these coaches to say, hey, put me through the film. Because you know why? I say this is it's not just not Tom, what's this guy's name? Vogel and Jason Kidd last year. I forgot who on the Lakers said it, but he said that we were doing extensive film work on each and every team so we could set up our zone defense on each playoff team properly. I forgot who said it. And I'm like, that is freaking beautiful, but you're lucky to have it. So what are these guys? I'm pretty sure Tom Thibodeau's showing them film. Like, what are these guys looking at? Like, what's the learning process? You know what I mean? Like, your head shouldn't be down when Tom Thibodeau's trying to talk to you to get you to play a certain way. You're not, or like I don't know.
They're asleep in class.
And before we go to you, Kevin, just 1 sec. Just salute to the chat. Please hit those like, subscribe, and reminder buttons to support our boy Freezy. Also, shout out to the mod Sima Bodega in New York Knicks. Take it, Kev.
I'm going to first start with something Guillermo said. You just named 3 of some of the greatest basketball minds in the history of the game, in Jordan, Kobe, and LeBron. So I think it's a little bit unfair to put Dennis Smith Jr. in that category, like he's supposed to think like them. There's not that many players in the world that's going to think like those 3.
But Kevin, you missed the point. What I meant to say was that with those guys, and maybe not more, well, LeBron James too, but you know, he does have a disgusting memory. They were all students of the game. They all
but I said is how many players have that mindset? Period.
But
not even talking about it. The level of the mindset of those 3 players you just named is the reason they separate themselves is because they have that mindset. So you can expect everyone to have it.
No. See, this excuse we're making. You can have the talent is different. They don't have the talent of these guys, right? But you can have the mindset of a Jordan, right? In terms of studying, in terms of being a student of the game. Being a student of the game takes absolutely no physical talent. You do not have to be a high-flying dunk. And there are a bunch of guys who are not as good as those guys, nowhere near as athletic.
But no, what I'm saying is, don't you think that their mindset is something that also sets them apart? Is being that dedicated student of the game.
And then that's why I don't make excuses, because if you don't have the mindset that every game I got to go out there and perform to the highest level, even when I don't have it my all, I got to at least think on the highest level. If you don't have that mindset, you should not be in the NBA.
How many people don't have that mindset, though? It's not just players on the bench.
Like Kev.
That's why they don't win. I agree with Legion. I know exactly what he's trying to say.
Yeah, I know the saying too.
I'll wait my turn. I'll get to it.
Yeah, if you don't have,
I got a good take on this whole thing.
Give me a player that doesn't have the talent, but keeps trying to work hard to get to, where he's trying to be. I'll take that any day.
That's who you want.
This is what kills me, though. This is the thing that kills me. People continuously say that these players aren't working, when the fact is the opposite, that they have worked really hard. Just because it's not clicking in our eyes doesn't mean that they're not. But they go home to
working hard and working smart the same.
Yeah, exactly, Steve.
Let me kill Kevin. Can I just kill Kevin real quick, please? Just let me just.
Let's freestyle time. We're gonna have a great night tonight. Let it rip.
This is the same Kevin that got on me saying, why can't these younger guys get it? Why are you putting them down? Now he's making excuses as to why they can't. This is what I'm saying.
Have you still ain't answered the thing about DSJ? You want to freestyle? You didn't answer the DSJ question. I sure want to get my chance to answer that question about DSJ.
You said that they're not working hard. And my thing is, none of us as fans know what they're doing and the work that they're putting in. If Dennis Smith Jr. is getting down, because he's like, man, I put in all this work, and it's still not coming together.
He shouldn't.
How come that can't be the mindset that they're having?
So how you feel about it? Back to Steven's original question. How you feel about DSJ?
I'm going to quote what Tibbs said today when he was specifically asked about Dennis Smith Jr. He says, when you're the point guard, you're running the team, and it's your responsibility to get everyone in the right spot. It's not just Dennis. It's everyone else. And it's important to know that when a player gets trapped, the rest of the players have to know where to go to get the ball out of the double team. I don't put it all on Dennis, but everyone else also has to be smart enough to be in the right positions.
Okay, why don't you put it on
Dennis? That came from Tom Thibodeau.
Okay, why don't you put it on DSJ, because he is technically
he's the quarterback.
Yes.
He is also. But let me ask you this question, and I'm going to play devil's advocate tonight because I don't want everyone to just harp on Dennis. I mean, he's not my favorite player or anything. I'm just saying I'm not going to be like it's negative, negative, negative. Let's take an example from Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold is a quarterback of the Jets. Sam Darnold has absolutely no help on the football field. So Dennis Smith Jr. is going out there with the second unit, right? Usually on most offenses, the defense has to key on somebody. Like there's somebody out there like, oh, we got to pay attention to this player here. Who on the second unit does anyone have to really pay that much attention to? So they can key up on the ball handler because there's no one else they got to really pay that much attention to. And that's what Tom Thibodeau was saying. It's up to everyone else to get in position to do things to help Dennis out.
Let's get Ron in here.
I'm sorry about that.
All right, because Kev still ain't answered the question. I'm still waiting for him to answer. You're making excuses for him. Answer the question.
I'm not making excuses.
Answer the question. How you feel about Dennis Smith Jr., DSJ, how he's playing? That's the question. How you feel about it?
He just has to keep working.
Hey, can I tell you how I feel? Can I tell you how I feel about it? I told my wife today if the Knicks did a version of The Wizard of Oz, DSJ would play the Scarecrow singing "If I Only Had a Brain." Kevin Knox would play the Tin Man, "If I Only Had a Heart," and Frank would be the Cowardly Lion, afraid to get to the next level in his career.
Oh my goodness! Wait a minute!
Somebody need to give you an Oscar.
now the next one is going to be Frank, because I disagree with that, Steve. The next one.
All right, so DSJ, in my opinion, everybody in America, all young ball players, this is why you don't jump straight out of college after 1 year. This is a prime example. He's a prime example of someone who came in the league off of athleticism. But you know what happens at the next level? Like we know, same thing in college football. Everybody running wide open. All quarterbacks look good. Wide receivers running open. In college, you can be the big dog in a little pond. But when you get to the NBA, everybody's pretty much the same size. So what's going to separate you, like what Guillermo said, is this thing right here. That's what separates the good players from the great players, and that's what separates the good players from the trash players. People, and that's why Tom, if you think about Tom, what Tom kept saying, and he talked about Mitch, but he was taking a shot at the whole team. He said, you have to be professional. Part of being a professional means you take your job seriously. And if you don't take your job seriously, that's why they got to draft every year with like a cattle truck mentality that they're bringing people in to take your jobs.
Yes, sir.
There's a lot of players on these guys. It shouldn't even be a question right now about you playing, you learning what you need to do. Like I said all the time, most of these guys right now are on 1 year deals. These guys that's on the hot seat. And I'm going to tell you right now, that plane is on the tarmac in LaGuardia. The gas is in it. The engine is running. Some tickets is waiting. We just going to find out who's going to be sitting in the seat.
Can I say something? I want to say something.
Hey, Kev, real quick. Let me just say, Ron, echo what Ron was saying. You gave him 20 games. You gave all these guys 20 games. So that's 4 preseason games and the 20. I don't think some of these guys is going to make it to the 20.
I don't think so neither. Actually, you can take 16, 15 games really in the regular season.
Yeah.
And I'm counting some of them practice for 1 game too. So,
right. Yes, sir. Absolutely.
14 games, man. We'll know. And matter of fact, I'm with you, Corner. I'm with you. I think somebody may be gone before the regular season starts, and that's not far-fetched. Shout out to Joe Man. He brought that out earlier today.
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
Quick response, real quick to Kevin, real quick. So you made the connection with Sam Darnold, right? And I'm a Sam Darnold fan, even though I'm on a Trevor Lawrence train, right? So again, if you want to make a comparison with Sam Darnold and DSJ, right? He has no help around him, right? And I think he has even worse coaching Obviously, well, Thibodeau is a good coach. Sam Darnold's never really had that, even though first year you could say Jeremy Bates was probably better than anything he's had. But
Jeremy Gates
Sam
was in
Darnold-
the woods before he
No,
became the
no,
offensive coordinator.
I said relative to Gase, Jeremy
No.
Bates was better
That's
than
not even
Darryl
saying that
Lawler.
much.
Exactly. But when you look at Sam Darnold's game, right, he's still making mistakes that everybody tells him that if you know the basics of quarterback, right, and I'm not saying it's easy, right? Sam Darnold again holds on to the ball way too long to try to make a play, doesn't throw out of bounds enough. That's quarterback in 1-on-1. If you don't have a play, you don't have the talent. Throw it away, live for another day. He doesn't do that. Still throws off his back foot. Another bad thing, right? So
Cross
again,
his body also, yeah.
Pick waiting to happen.
Doesn't read zone defense as well. That's another issue, right?
Hey, Gary, we'll keep him so Xavier Howard can keep getting them picks.
There are things that you could do, even if you don't have good coaching. Now, obviously, he's not going to. These things I'm saying is not necessarily going to get you to 30 touchdowns a year, but it's gonna help you make better decisions and not look as bad, right? So that's the thing with DSJ. You may not have the talent around you or whatever, and DSJ is a little bit easier because yes, he's a quarterback of the team, but in a basketball setting, obviously, because you're not playing with 11 guys on the field, you're playing only 4 of the guys on the court at that time, right? The things in DSJ's game that he can improve on without him being an uber. And again, just to make a clarification, because Rob's trying to kill me in the chat, right? When I brought up those guys, right, there are other examples. There's guys like freaking Shane Battier. There are other guys who are nowhere near as talented. So when I use Jordan, whatever, it's not to say that they have the same IQ, right? But they're guys that work extremely hard at understanding the game, even though they do not have the natural ability to be a top-level player. Why do you think that every other year or every year there's some Joe Schmo who comes out of nowhere, who wasn't highly touted or whatever, they come out in the next 3-and-D player that comes out of nowhere is like, oh, who the hell is this guy, right? A lot of those, and you look at them, it's like, what's so great about his game? But he's always in the right space, always getting to the proper spots on the court, always making the right decision, and he worked on something, say a 3-point shot or whatever it may be, right? So again, DSJ, for all this, we all said these guys have all this talent, whatever. Oh, they can understand the game. Now we're taking it back to make excuses for them? No. This is the NBA. You're getting paid millions of dollars to play a kid's sport that we all love. It is up to you that at the very least, you be up to tune IQ-wise. And what I saw out there when DSJ was calling for the screen in a zone, that's elementary school basketball where you don't know what the hell you're doing on a court. So I'm sorry. It's either I'm gonna say he's dumb. Then I say he's dumb. He's not dumb. Either he doesn't get it mentally and he needs to go, or he's not working hard enough or smart enough to understand the game. Either way, it's I'm not making an excuse for this dude. That's
a great example that you use of Shane Battier. Because when he was with those Heat teams with LeBron, Wade, and Bosh, he was one of those key reserve people that was playing for him because of his IQ pretty much. And it also helped that he did have LeBron and all of them, as well. But he was a key reserve for them, man. So that's good.
I'm going to say something, and to me, and I'm going to say that this is Dennis Smith Jr.'s problems last night. Again, yes, they are his fault because he is the point guard. But I'm also going to give responsibility to Frank, because if he sees the trap is coming, then it's up to Frank, the other backcourt mate, to go get the ball.
Frank was jumping out there for the angles for him to make the pass. He wouldn't make it. Frank did give him an angle. He wouldn't make the pass.
Yeah, and another football analogy, the receiver has to come back. If they see the quarterback in problem, they have to come back, break their route for a second, come back to the ball to make it easy for that quarterback.
He still didn't make the pass.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think the one that Rob is talking about was the one where there was a double team up top. Frank flashed at the top of the key to help him out. He was there the whole time, I think. It's either Frank or I can't remember. I got to go back and watch it.
No, it was Frank. It was Frank,
right? So again, DSJ. It's not just DSJ. I'm not just getting on DSJ because Randall did the same thing, right? Because people are saying, "Oh, Randall." I'm not trying to jump to Randall, but we have very low IQ on this team. Randall had the same thing. He was in the post, and people. So one of you guys was saying it yesterday. I wish I'd come on, but obviously the technical difficulties with StreamYard. But literally, there's a play where Randall had Bullock flash to the wing, wide open to make the pass. And luckily enough, I mean, he was lucky to get this off. He jumped in the air, ignored Bullock, jumped in the air, and made the pass to the other wing. He was lucky to get that pass off. Better teams are going to play that passing lane easily, right?
Yes,
that's just low IQ. That's very low IQ. You're trying to make something spectacular happen when literally the best play is a simple play. double team is coming. Your guy flashes, make the pass to him. He might make the pass to somebody else who makes the pass to somebody else who's wide open as the defense is now trying to reset to get back off away from that double team and attention that was on Randall. We have a very low IQ set of players. And I know Tom Thibodeau just got here, so I'm not blaming him at all. But again, a lot of these things, yes, you could say, oh, they didn't have top-level NBA coaching, but I've seen teams who did not have great coaching, right? And they were still making proper plays, like those type of plays, passing out the double teams, right? Like, why? It's up to these players, man. I'm sorry, man. I'm not giving excuses to DSJ.
No, God bless you, man. I think you're preaching the truth. It's absolutely, the players have to take some accountability for their own development, and I think you've been wonderful on that, Guillermo. Whether talking about RJ getting his own coach and all those things. That, come on, you're a professional. You should take pride in your craft.
Can I ask you guys a question real quick?
Yeah, please.
It's not me having no favoritism of RJ Barrett, right? But when RJ Barrett gets a pick and roll, or when he's driving to the basket, right, especially in the first, doesn't he look like I'm not talking about even his scoring, but just the decision making. Right now, he's had some turnovers. He's not perfect by any means, but compared to all the young guys who came back, does he look the most improved decision making wise? And forget the scoring.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. And to RJ's credit, I know what you're talking about, Guillermo. You know, playing that point guard position, you got to see the play before the play. You know, a lot of time it ain't the initial thing that you're looking at. You got to see what can come off of it. And RJ was dumping that ball. It was one in particular where he threw it to Nerlens Noel, and he lost it. I was like, that's called a win. I said, somebody would look at this and say that's RJ's fault. But no, Nerlens should have known to cut when you see RJ coming toward the basket, because the defense is going to collapse on RJ to try to stop him. And he was late cutting, and the ball hit him on the hands and went out of bounds. It's little things like that going to cause you to win or lose games.
To be honest with you, I will say, I will give some of this blame. I'm not in the huddle, to Thibodeau. And I say this because they played Detroit on back-to-back nights. And you clearly saw an adjustment from
Casey
from game 1 to game 2.
Yeah.
And even in the game, there was an adjustment by Casey.
Yeah, they were trapping.
I didn't see the adjustment from Thibodeau. It was like, okay, guys, just go out there and run the set.
Casey wanted to win.
Given it like, okay, well, Detroit is doing something different, but Thibodeau hasn't given us the instruction to do anything different. So we're going to go out there and do the game plan.
Well, he did it at halftime. He did it at halftime.
At halftime, it was too late at that point in time.
But
and
Kevin,
that's what I was saying before, when they were all saying how they blamed the young guys for losing the lead. But I was saying that if in the beginning, when they started off, you could blame the starters for, just as much as you could blame the bench for getting.
And that's what Tim said earlier today. He said, the tone of the game was already set before the second unit even got in the game.
Yes, sir.
And even when they came in, the defensive intensity, they didn't match the intensity.
But Tibbs is not. But again, I think that what Tibbs is doing, and I'm not saying it's not like Fizzo. Tibbs, I think, is doing this purposely to see what these guys are thinking. Again, these games mean nothing. The wins doesn't mean jack-ish, right?
Can you explain that a little more?
But this is the start of the muscle memory for them to do things right.
Thank you. It's to see, okay, if this happens, if Dwayne Casey does this in game, and thank God for Dwayne Casey for doing this, for actually coaching up his team to get these younger players, because everybody first game, oh man, yo, we lit, man. I don't give an F, man. This is the first win of the season. We looking good. Okay. Adversity comes. Thibodeau's like, okay, and Thibodeau's not dumb. He ran the triangle 3 times, so with the starting lineup. So it's not as if he's not coaching. But again, you have to see if you have the mental soldiers out there, right, who can understand concepts like the triangle, understand motion offenses, understand sets. Offensive sets are a little more nuanced than just a basic pick and roll. And he allowed those guys out there. It's like X-Men. When they go out there in the war room, if anybody remembers the cartoon, I used to love X-Men.
Oh, yeah, love it.
Oh, yeah.
The war room, how you fight the Sentinels, all that stuff. He's saying, okay, you're in this situation, you're in the city. all these villains. What are you going to do when the Sentinels show up? How are you going to fight them off without trying to hurt innocent people? This is what he's trying to do with these young guys. So to sit here and say you should coach them up, no. Let them go out and see how they adapt. Now you pick the players. Okay, my starting lineup is, okay, here's my rotation because I saw, just for instance, just making this up, say Frank, when this play happened, he was able to, like Emmanuel Quickly, when he made that pass to the middle, remember when Emmanuel Quickly came, I was either Emmanuel or Frank, can't remember who, they made that pass to the middle against the zone, right? Okay, smart. I'm going to get Frank to be in this set. He's going to get 5 minutes here, 5 minutes here, blah, blah. This is what he's doing. He's setting up. So we can't look at it like Tom Thibodeau is, again, I think game by game, you're going to start to see a little bit more nuance because obviously he has to have the starting lineup that he wants to go with. But this whole year is about setting the template for this team, the blueprint, the framework, right? And obviously a lot of these veterans are not going to be here next year, right? But he needs to see who's able to stick, what works best for this team, and then how to enhance it with draft picks, with more talented free agents for next year. So everything he's doing now, this is perfect. Let these guys sink or swim. Let them mentally. I mean,
I'll say this about the young players: they looked dramatically, and this is with any young player. When you play, when you don't think, you play better. So when they were playing faster, they looked great. They looked fine. Like that first game when they were playing fast and didn't have the time to think, they were fine. They looked great. Like Knox, DSJ, Frank, they all topping even. They
Just
looked better going faster. But when the
but
second game, when it slowed down, when they were in half court sets, it was like, whoa, wait, what do we do?
Thank you.
Right. Yeah.
That's
And
the
so
whole-
to help
whole
them,
point.
it would behoove them to play faster. And that's something,
No.
if Tom Thibodeau says, just go out there, it's on them to say, okay.
Well, Guillermo, I'll say this to Kev's point, but that's why Tibbs know what he's working with. That's why he want them guys to run. Because if you try to play a half court set with these guys from what we're seeing,
I mean,
Maybe
we
get
in
one-
time
we gonna
as
get
the season goes on, they get more comfortable
I-
playing more
I-
half court sets.
Yeah, I
Then
think
yes.
the only one that feels comfortable in the half court set is Frank. I think he's the only one that's comfortable because he ran it. I mean,
that's all he did, and that's why Phil went and got him. Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
glad Chuck ain't here tonight. That's because he never ran a fast break. That's why he does half court.
Yeah.
Name me one championship level team that did not have at least an above average intellect, right? The last team you could probably think of, and because of extreme circumstances with which they won, were the Cavaliers, right? Where this is a team that didn't really practice, but they had a high IQ player in both Kyrie and LeBron, even though Kyrie's a head case, both extremely talented players, right? So again, you cannot have and I'm not saying that we're going to get the championship in the next 3 or 5 years, but you cannot have a successful team that has a low IQ. We talk about pace, yes, because it's easy to run out and get them fit, but a lot of games aren't going to. In game, you're not going to.
You're
have
right.
50,
They're going to slow it down.
With court, yes, you have to process the game. It's like we're trying to say, not coming at you, Kim. I don't think it's what you're saying, but it's like people will say, let them play with pace, blah blah. No, the NBA is not just about pace. Yeah, do you want more pace? Yes, you want more pace. Yes, it's a great weapon to have. It's great to have players who can do it. But again, these guys have to process the game on a higher level. We have not had that. So again, people cannot complain that we have not had coaching for the past few years. But then when we get coaching, it's like, now let's just go back to running with pace. Like if
that is the case that you're trying to make, then it contradicts what Tibbs is doing, because Tibbs has to coach them up.
Not necessarily.
If this is the regular season, and you're trying to do whatever. You can't just just go out there. No, Tibbs has to put them in positions to be successful, at least in the beginning, until they get comfortable to where it's like, okay, it's muscle memory. I know what to do when this situation happens.
I'm going to tell you, I'm with Guillermo. I'm going to tell you why. Why I think Tibbs ain't try to make no adjustment off of it. I want to see who can run half court sets. I want to see who can do it, because guess what? Those are going to be the players I need to get out of here, because you can run all day. Guillermo, you hit it right. I would like to see them guys run, because I've already seen with my own eyes that they're not good in the half court. So as a fan, I want to see them run. But I know there are points in the game when the games are close. In the regular season, defense tighten up. They force you to get in sets. If you don't know how to get in them, you're gonna get exposed. And definitely in the playoffs, you ain't gonna be running. You better know how to run half court sets. So,
But yeah, I think yesterday was more.
I think Tibbs is holding that door open to see who he can get out of there, because he keeps saying he wants players that impact winning, and the only way you're gonna win a championship, you're not gonna win a championship just running. You got to play half court.
Hey, this is a question for everybody, especially Ron. At the end of the game, if you could pick it right now, after seeing what you've seen, at the end of the games coming up, who do you think the 5 will be on the floor?
RJ definitely gonna be on the floor.
Okay.
I would say, and people don't like him. You know, we know it is a split office on this guy. Julius Randle gonna be on the floor.
Okay.
Nerlens Noel definitely gonna be on the floor.
Over Mitch?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. In the games, I don't
Let me
trust.
ask you a question.
As much as I like Mitch, don't get me wrong, and I like him, and he's uber talented. I love him. In the games, I'm not doing that.
Okay.
Unless, now a caveat, unless he got one foul, and I'll allow him to just be as aggressive as he want to be.
Okay.
But generally speaking, I'm going to take in most cases Nerlens Noel. So that's 3 spots taken up.
Yeah.
So now we got the point guard position. Is either you going with Frank or you going with Alfred Payton? Either one of them guys. DSJ is not even an option. He is not an option. And I'm kind of leaning toward Alfred Payton, even though he can't shoot, but he's able to see things before they happen. What Guillermo was talking about earlier, the ability to see the play after the play.
Yeah. Could you see a scenario real quick, Ron? Could you
let
see
him just finish up? There's one player to go.
Yeah, we got one more spot.
Yeah, right.
I'm going Alex Burks. You got to have him on the floor because he's our most dependable 3-point shooter right now.
Okay, real quick.
For that small forward position.
Okay, real quick. Could you see a scenario where Tibbs is using both Frank and Alfred Payton, like on defense, putting Frank in, and then if we get the offensive possession, then putting Alfred in? Could you see that happening?
Only way I can see that happening if it's a night where Frank got it going, because you can't afford.
But you know what I'm saying? You know, like in a timeout, if we're on the defense, he putting Frank in, and you know, once the play dies out again, we're on offense, him putting in Alfred.
Oh, you mean like substituting offense for defense?
Right.
Yeah, I can see him doing something like that, but then again, you know, it's going to be hard to have both them guys on the court at the same time, because only way
I agree.
Frank gonna have to have it going. He gonna have to have a hot hand for him and Alfred Payton to be playing together.
Absolutely.
Can I just say, and to answer this question, are you trying to? I'm assuming you're saying what 5 do you want on the court because you are trying to win. Like you need a basket to win the game, right?
No, just in general, you know, keeping the
when the game get tight.
Yeah, the game gets tight. Yes. When the game gets tight. So
I forgot about Austin Rivers. I gotta go
here's
back.
the thing, and I'm gonna contradict you. People don't get fooled by what you recently saw. Just because you saw Alec Burks hit threes does not mean that he's a good 3-point shooter throughout his career.
Kevin. Hold up. Look at the man. Look at the man career average. Steve, can you pull that up for me?
He's a career 36% shooter from the three.
What is Knox over 3 years? I know that's what you're alluding to.
No, I'm not saying that.
Who
I'm
else
just saying it's
better
not
than him
like
on our team shooting right now, small forward?
What I'm saying is not like we have great shooters. Just because Burks had a great shooting game last night does not mean consistently throughout his career he's been a consistently good 3-point shooter.
But Kev, he's better than your boy though. He's better than Kevin Knox.
He wasn't.
I'm not saying anything about Knox.
He wasn't really a good 3-point shooter, I think, but again, I don't think he was asked to be that type of player. Because remember, with Utah, he was like their lead guard, and I think his attempts, they reached a climax, right, or apex, whatever you want to call it, last year, right? I think he averaged about 4.3
exactly. You're right on target as usually, Guillermo. The last 3 years, he averaged a touch under 5, but early in his career at Utah, only a couple attempts a game.
Yeah, he wasn't. He wasn't that type of player. Again, it's all relative, right? It could be Bullock, it could be Burks, right? I mean, you need, and to Kevin's point, right? or to try to answer Kevin's cornerstone Kevin's point. Frank will have to space out the floor adequately. Well, oh no, he actually said to swap him in. So I apologize for that. My bad. I was thinking of you that you said to play them together. My bad. But you only have something like that. Like, I don't know if you could swap in Frank in and out, because first and foremost, Payton is a decent defender, and at least from the first game, it seems like he's buying into
he's a
Thibodeau.
Actually, look above average.
So again, you need space on the floor. And I look, Kevin, right? I agree with you. No one here is like that great of a shooter, but for what we have, Bullock and Burks will most likely fit at that 3 position, or you play them at the 2, RJ at the 3. So yeah, I mean, who else would take besides Burks and Bullock, right? And that starting lineup, who do you think would take that 3 position, Kevin?
Oh, I was just pointing it out to make it seem like Burks ain't he's not going to shoot as good as he did last night every game.
But that's not true. The last 3 years, he's shot above NBA average from 3.
Hey, you hoping he don't, because he's gonna take your boy's spot. Hey, you know what? At the end of the day, we gotta look at this thing behind me, man.
Listen, and
that's
I'm gonna say this, and
I love Frank. Everybody know I love Frank, but guess what? If I see somebody playing better, I ain't gonna knock him down to make Frank look better.
Listen, we all know, man. Everybody in the chat knows.
Attractive, man.
I believe in Kevin Knox, but I wasn't making this. Listen, I want Kevin Knox to succeed. I think it's in everyone's best interest if Kevin Knox succeeds.
Absolutely, it's about this thing back here.
So, do I believe that Kevin Knox? Here's the thing: people act like Kevin Knox ain't gonna hit a 3 because he hasn't made one. He ain't gonna make one all season long. Like that's not gonna happen. So
he gonna have a game.
He will start to make
let's
shots.
hope he don't get hurt, because then they'll be saying he ain't make a 3 all year.
hey, Kev, real quick, Kev. I think he's further along. He's further along than DSJ is. I'm going to say that.
Everybody's further along than DSJ. I don't think
here's the thing about Knox.
Kevin Keller's further along than DSJ.
Here's the thing about Knox. Once his shot falls, Kevin Knox will be okay.
What'd you say?
Because, like I said, he's had 2 I said, once Kevin Knox shots falls, he's going to be okay.
I love you. Yeah,
I think he's stepped up defensively to where he's not a liability if he continues to focus on that end of the court.
He's going to have to if he want to be on the court, because that shot ain't working right now. For
right now, reason. But like I said, and that's the good thing. But his 2 games, he has not been the liability on defense.
He sure has.
He has not.
I give him his credit. He been trying.
He has not.
I give him an
and be like, okay,
he left his feet a few times though, Kevin. You got to admit, watching that game,
Mr. Knox, I didn't hear the beginning of it.
You got to admit, Kevin Knox left his feet a few times defending yesterday.
Yes, I think nobody was great defensively last night. Last night was awful. Everybody was bad defensively at one point in time.
Even Frank.
Hey, just 1 second, everyone. Just want to say salute to the chat. Please hit those like, subscribe, and reminder buttons. Support our boy Freezy. Just want to say hi to Triborough, as always, man.
We'll be at 800 soon.
Guys are
hit them like buttons. Hit them like buttons.
Curry, Kevin, Bergon, Craig Mack. Really appreciate all your support. So sorry about that, fellas. Just wanted to get a little business in for a second.
Handle your business.
Yeah, but back to your point though, Kev. Your boy, man. I think he's still having nightmare about David Fizdale, man. he ain't recovered from Fizdale. That's what it's looking like through 2 games. Other than the defense got better, you knew that was going to happen with Tibbs, but offensively, I don't know what it's going to take for him to wake up.
Man, you know what I want to see? I want to see the ball in Kevin Knox's hand.
He needs 40
because Kevin Knox is actually really good in the pick and roll set. Like he's actually he's actually good at that. So I think you should put the ball in his hand more.
He might be one of those players like a running back. You know how you got some running backs, right? They got to continue to get the ball to be effective later in games. And then you got some running backs, the minute you hand them the ball, they just pop on the screen, just taking over. Kev might be one of them players where he got to take a lot of shots to hit any shot.
Yeah.
I
I
put
would like
Kev
to
in the
see-
category like this here. This is what Kev's problem is. Kev, if he's in space, no matter where he's at, he's gonna shoot from where he's at. If nobody's around, he won't step a step closer. He'll just launch from wherever he's at. When if somebody's playing off of him, he'll try to drive by him at times instead of coming to him and pulling up. He'll be off of him about 4 feet. He'll go partying right to him. And
And you know what I think another problem with him too, Rob?
there's no deception in this game.
He needs to try to get the easy shot. Go take a 2-point shot. Go to the basket. Try to get to the free throw line before you start launching up jump shots. Because it's apparent with him, the minute he misses a few, that's it. That's
He'll
it.
go down into that post and get a rebound and get a putback and then get started.
Yeah.
But he don't operate that way. He'll come in and straight out the game, be cold as ice, and fire up a long 3. That's what he did the other night.
Yeah.
But I got confidence that he gonna get it together though.
Yeah.
But,
I got more hope in him than I do DSJ.
oh man,
He's
DSJ is lost cause, man.
Case closed.
Yeah, I have a lot of respect for Sim, and he thinks that Knox is going to turn it around. Hey, I thought about Sim watching the games, and he was right, man. Sadiq Bey, not only he's a beast, man. RJ is a very strong guy, and Bey just
dude. It was that guy from France that played on Frank's team.
Well, him too. Yeah, him
He
too.
was the one causing hell.
Yeah, he
You
did.
talking about the point
Sim
guard?
knows his stuff,
No,
man.
not the
Salute.
point guard. I think he's like he's a
Demboye.
forward center. A forward or I think he's a forward, Ron.
Okay.
Sekou Mbaya.
Oh, yeah. They highlighted him.
Mind you, Knox shut down the first game. Just want to put that out there.
He did
Say
what?
again?
I said Knox shut him down the first game. Just want to put that out there. He did not look that good when Knox was guarding in the first game.
Well,
Making that announcement.
Hey, don't tell that to Chuck because I told him that that Frank had shut down Killian Hayes and everything, and he was like, "No, he didn't. No,
The
he
whole
didn't."
thing about
He
Killian Hayes
didn't. It
is
was Peyton who
was-
shut him down.
that was a
actually.
lot of Peyton. But the first game, Kevin Knox was on Demboye, and Demboye didn't look nearly as good as he did last night.
Yeah.
First game, Frank Ntilikina did at one point. He had that one play on Killian Hayes. Killian Hayes got it was either inbound pass or pass to somebody top of the key. Frank got around the pick, stayed on Killian. Killian drove back to his left and picked up his dribble and passed it out. Frank at least had one possession where he did shut down Killian. Frank played good on the first game, but obviously Payne played I think way more minutes. And had more opportunities on
Right.
on
And
Killian.
yesterday, it was just like what Ron had said. The refs got into his head. He couldn't. What did you say, Ron? About
He didn't adjust to how the ref was calling the game because it was apparent when I was looking at it. I said, and back to Guillermo's point, that's called being smart. You got to know if they calling tic-tac fouls, you can't be up on the player. You gotta play off. And Frank is smarter than that, and that's why. That's the only thing I was disappointed with him last night because I was like, you got to know how the refs call in the game. You learn that quick, how they call in the game, and you make an adjustment.
Yes, sir.
So we were upset with him. We got to really, lay it on Mitchell Robinson too because he does silly fouls.
He did the same thing. He did the same thing.
But he showed me something. He played with 5 fouls and didn't foul out.
Now I agree with you, Rob. Near the end, because it was the last 3 or 4 minutes he played.
More than that, probably about the last 6 minutes of the game.
Yeah, he played a long time. I give him credit for that. And now that's a change from years past because normally, if Mitch got 5, Mitch was going to be on that pine with that 6-1 pretty close behind. So he made an adjustment. It just was too late.
Excuse my language, but when the fuck is he going to take a jump shot, man?
I thought he was going to take
2024 Cornerstone.
He was on the wing, and it looked.
This is the professionalism Tibbs is talking about. You had 3 opportunities taken, right? You worked you did all that stuff in this whole summer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you come to the league. So this was the professionalism. Why are you working on things that you know you're not going to do?
Thank you.
Or not working on?
Or just waste the time.
You hit the nail on the head there, Guillermo. You right on with that one. Because there was one play in particular. Because I got up off my seat. And I was like, is he about to shoot that 3? He was off on the left side on the wing.
Yep.
And I'm like, and then he changed his mind and passed it. And he had the best look for a shot. Nobody was around him.
Yeah. So, fellas, let's shift a little here and let's talk about Julius Randle. So,
Lord.
after
Do we have to?
I
About
agree,
to go-
man. The dude
You
is-
better be glad Julius is on this team.
he's exhausting to watch, man. I know he's a stats machine, but his game's not conducive to winning at all. He
Well,
had two.
Steve, let
He
me
has
ask
two.
you-
1 second, Burrow. He had
Yeah.
He had 2 plays that symbolize why I think it just New York fans just can't stand this dude.
Just two?
It was after Frank hit a 3-pointer. On the next possession, he comes down. He looks off Frank, who's totally
Yes.
open,
Yes.
and
And he
and-
was hot. He was
and
hot.
he give the kid a
Yeah,
chance
boy.
to get into a rhythm. And then on the
Like,
possession,
one shot.
well, let him get into a
Go ahead,
rhythm.
Steve.
Just
Go ahead,
let them
Steve.
get into a rhythm. And then on the possession right after that, they come down and he gets the ball on the block and Rose comes down to collapse on him. Quickly, he's all alone at the top of the key for a 3. He doesn't kick it out to him.
Yes.
So
That's
I'm just like
Can
saying,
I just want to.
1 second, let me just finish. So, when you were growing up and you're with your friends and you're in your position, you're hitting shot after shot, and when they're checking the ball, they throw the ball to a little left, so you have to move your feet, so you get out of your rhythm and stuff. Just absolutely, dick moves that he's doing, and every time he touches the ball, he eats up seconds off that clock, man, before he puts it up, and then when he finally does kick it out, then people have to put up shots because they have a time, they're worried about the 24-second clock. But, Cornerstone, you take it.
What I was gonna ask you, what is it that makes him so maddening to you?
Like I just said, that type of selfish play.
Yeah.
Another play, he comes up, he went coast to coast, but before he hit the half court line, he has, I think it was Peyton ahead of him, the guard. He
Yeah.
didn't kick the ball to the guard and let the guard do what the guard's supposed to do. He goes coast to coast, and like I said, I think he missed 3 or 4 layup level shots yesterday, Randall, which he does all the time. But it bothers me because at the end, he's a 2010 guy. He's a 2010 guy, but he's a 2010 guy that will never be on a winning team with the way he plays.
Right. It doesn't impact winning.
Can I? Go ahead.
No, what I was going to say, Kev, is that what's maddening to me is how he looks off everyone. Now, me and Sim on his podcast, we were going back and forth with this because we were talking about how much he has the ball in his hand. Well, the usage rate, how much he has the ball in his hand, and how much how much RJ has the balls in his hand. And I'm saying to him, I'm like, listen, he don't look for nobody. Randall don't look for nobody at all. I went to the game at Philly last year, the first game when they were down in Philly. I had like quote unquote front row seat pretty much. There were so many times that RJ was open when Randall had it, and he looked them off. And then last night you saw that again, with Frank. It's like you gotta pass the ball.
And he was all alone too, totally all alone.
Yes, he's all alone.
I like to listen to Tom Thibodeau's press conferences because he gives tidbits about what's really going on. But this is what he said, and he didn't mention Julius Randle by name, but you can tell he was talking about Julius Randle when he said, "Just because it's your play doesn't mean it's your shot. It means it's your responsibility to make the best play for the team. When we play for each other, the game becomes easy. The principle of a sound offense is to make the defense collapse and take the best shot." Now, we can all assume he's talking about Julius Randle in this situation.
Absolutely. And this is another reason why I like Tibbs, because he tells it like it is. And you didn't get that last year from Fizdale at all out of the 2 years. Did you, Ron?
Nah, Fizdale was too.
But
don't even bring that guy name up to me, man.
I'll say this:
I feel like slapping him right now.
We cannot go into the regular season averaging 90 points a game. And throughout the 2 preseason games, we're only averaging about 83 or 84 shots a game. A lot of that is, and it's not tempo, it's pace. You know, when you're shooting, when you get the ball in every possession, the clock is winding down. You're not getting up that many shots. You know, if you're shooting the ball with the clock running down, it's usually under 5 seconds each game because you have a player who's holding the ball for 10, 12 seconds out of each possession. Then you're not going to be able to put up that. You're not going to be able to put up that many shots. And this team isn't offensively good enough to win games when we're taking 85 or less shots a game.
Yeah.
And that's just the tempo. And it's not that we're going to be out and run every play, but if the tempo is faster, then the more shot. I think the more shots these players put up to get in a rhythm, the better the offense will be. But one player can't hold the ball for 10 to 12 seconds each game, even though he's getting 20 points a game.
Each possession, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Rob?
Until Thibodeau finds a point guard that he's comfortable with, that's the play you're going to get out of Randall. The point guards are too timid. You can say he's not passing the ball, but I didn't see Frank asking for it. Frank just stay there and look at him. Now he's supposed to be.
But wait a minute. Well, you say that, but
hey, Cornerstone, your mic, you're breaking up a little. We want to hear your words, man. Just make sure your mic is cool.
Hey, look, we all agree that that's the pass that should be made, but I don't see nobody on the floor chewing Randall's ass out when he's doing it.
Who's going to chew him out?
Hey, look here. At the end of the day, it's the point guard's job to check him on that.
I agree with you totally. But again, I'm going to ask
this is why we need CP3. CP3 will say something to him.
The point is this.
Westbrook would have said something to him too.
The point guard's job is to command the team. If anybody right here gonna make an excuse for why the point guard is not asking for that ball or correcting Randall's on there, you're an extension of the coach. You are an extension of the coach.
Exactly.
So therefore, there's no excuses.
So when Randall is taking the ball, hold up. When Randall is taking the ball out of bounds, and Elfrid Payne's literally looking at him like, "Yo, pass me the ball," and Randall looks him off. When I've seen he do the same thing to Frank, right? You know what I mean? So again,
you think he'll do that to Chris Paul?
Why the
hell is Randall playing at the perimeter?
Look, make a fuss about it, Guillermo. That's all I'm saying. Make a fuss about it. Do not allow him to get away with that. If you're going to allow him to get away with that, you're minimizing the team because you're allowing one player to do that.
For you know what that means? That means he shouldn't be. That guy shouldn't be the point guard. Because if your point guard ain't strong enough to check everybody on the court, I don't want him as my point guard. I don't want no passing point guard.
Yeah, but Ron, again,
the point guard that Randall plays with the most.
If the point guard checks him on the floor, Tibbs is going to stand behind the point guard.
Ron, but again, who is going to stand up to Randall?
Then neither one of them need to be the point guard.
Randall's supposed to be the leader of the team.
You know what's funny, Rob? I don't disagree with you, Rob, because put like this: if you are a point guard, right, you're supposed to be getting guys in proper position. You're supposed to be telling them, hey, getting there. I don't blame you, Rob. It's like I agree on both sides, Rob. Like it's Randall's fault because I think he's an idiot. I think he's a dope. I don't care about his useless 18-9 or whatever. I just hate when people say that crap as if style of play doesn't matter.
We're brothers. I feel the same way.
10 guys in the NBA.
It absolutely matters in everything.
Year out, and it was because they were 20-10, but they were some of the most inefficient 20-10 guys or 20-ish, whatever you want to call them. And it's like not necessarily rebounds, right? But even then, rebounds, you have to if you're grabbing a whole bunch of uncontested rebounds, right? Like that it doesn't mean for anything. Now, contested rebounds, that's value, right? But if a rebound just falls and the rest of the team is already back and you're just catching a freaking defensive rebound because no one's there, you know what I mean? But you know what I mean? The thing with Randall just gets me pissed is like, dogs, you don't see your own game being ineffective. You know what I mean? I agree with you, Rob. As a point guard, I'm calling that for yo. And if I have to go back to coach, I'm like, yo, Tibbs, Yo, he's supposed to be on the block. He's not effective here. He's not.
No, but that's because I've
And the
seen
first
players
one he
get
first
on
said,
Randall on the
That's
court.
what led-
The
But Red, Rob, that's what led.
He'll get the starting job.
I tell you
My
what,
thing is,
Rob,
shout out
that's
to
what
Jason
led
in the
Rob,
chat.
this is what-
Shout out to
Rob,
Jason in the chat. He said
Rob,
Rivers would check him. And
Rob,
I
this is
think
what
he would.
Rob. This is what
Good catch,
led.
Ron.
This is what led to these so-called issues in the locker room that people said occurred last year between him and RJ. So RJ allegedly was one of these people that probably spoke up about like, yo, dogs, your game, yo, what is this crap? So again, it's not you haven't tried, but again, RJ Barrett's not a point guard. I agree with you. Guys like Frank, this is why I said Frank needs to marry his game to American game because all that, French, I'm the passive aggressive stuff. Because I watch soccer a lot, right? And a lot of French guys, as talented they are in soccer, they're very passive aggressive, right? And so guys like Frank got to step up like, yo, call for the ball. And if that means we got to fight, we got to fight. But it's one thing if it's LeBron James doing it, right? But Randall ain't LeBron James.
Randall ain't got no cash like that in this league.
He doesn't have any cash. He doesn't have any cash.
Doesn't he do that? My bad, Kevin. Go ahead.
He doesn't have any cash like that, but they made him the offer last year, so he took it upon himself.
Kevin, let me tell you something. That word "but" that cancel out everything you just said.
Yeah.
There's a lot of but people. You know what I mean? Oh, they're a good employee, but nah, it's either you are or you ain't. And let's just be real. We seen this show with Randall last year, and
Mike Miller tried to
kill him yet. I'm not gonna kill him yet.
Tried to curve it. Yeah.
The first game, that ball was like a hot potato in his hand. Only was a few times I seen him having it sticking, but for the most part, it was hot, and he was getting the ball and moving it. But is one thing that happens with players when they get older, they tend to revert back to what they're comfortable with.
Old habits.
And that's his game. Old habits old habits die hard.
Yesterday, guess what? 3 of them was to RJ because RJ checked them.
Yeah, and RJ ain't afraid. That's why I like it. I like his mentality. Him and Obi, I'm not worried about them two guys, man.
This is
you talking about Frank and
when I bring up
90-day dishwater.
When I bring up pace of play with Randall and when he brings up the ball, and this obviously this is about Knox. This is one thing when I see Knox push the ball. When I was coaching like youth basketball, I would tell my players the ball will move faster than the man. Absolutely. You don't always have to dribble the ball up the court. If you pass the ball up the court in transition, because the ball will get there before the man will. That's pushing the style of play. But when Julius gets it and pounds it onto the floor up the court, you're not getting this. You're giving the defense a chance to at least get back. Because not like Julius Randle's the fastest player on the court. Yep. So if he gets the ball and he pushes it up the court, as in passes it in transition, that's one thing. But Julius Randle doesn't even do that. He gets the ball and he's gone with it. And it's like, will you just give up the ball? And
but
it's not even up to the players. It's not, and that's unfair to say it's Frank or DJ or Peyton. Tibbs needs to say, Randall.
No, he don't.
He is the head coach.
Why not?
A player needs to say it first.
I agree with that, Rob. Now I agree with you before that they have to ask, but it's also
if you know that your point guards aren't the strongest players, then it's up to Tibbs to say, Randall, give up the ball, or you're gonna sit right next to me.
Exactly.
Hey, Kev, I keep telling you that plane is sitting on the tarmac, right?
If you want to win, if you want to win in the New York Knicks uniform, and you're the point guard, and you want to stay the point guard, check them, and you'll get the job, guaranteed. Tibbs will give you the job. Tibbs want leadership. He can't force people into leadership positions. It's only 5 of them.
So you trying to say Tibbs is not going to make his players do the best basketball play?
Look,
Tibbs will look at it like, oh, well, I'm just going to let Julius run the ball up every time.
So Rob, what you're saying is basically, what you're saying is either
you're saying that Tibbs is going to have no responsibility.
Kev, hold on. Let Cornerstone go, because it sounds like mumbo jumbo right now.
What you're saying is either Frank or DSJ needs to bust him in his head and say, give me the ball. Is that what you're saying?
Check them on national TV and see what the media do. They'll do it for you.
Okay.
But see, Rob,
Like
you
him.
don't, you don't, but Rob, you don't want an issue where you have you don't want that attention, right? But I agree with you, Rob. You got to be aggressive, whether it's in the locker room, which is what RJ Barrett did, right? But you got to be careful. But also, you got to think about this way. Them playing Julius Randle, I think, is to get that trade value and to get assets for him. Again, Julius Randle's he's not a long-term player for the Knicks. I think Tom Thibodeau, I think everyone sees it.
Absolutely.
And I think Randle also sees this. This is why I call him a selfish player, because he's not going to compromise his game to sit there and make people bet. I know Sim said, "Oh, he was passing ball." I was like, "Come on, Sim, you caping for this dude." And he's not this guy's a flawed guy. Regardless of what other people are saying, I know people like to pound on him, but people are doing it for good reason. The guy is dumb. Like when he's on the court, he's dumb. I don't care what no one says. He sits on the perimeter, getting the ball, stopping the motion. It don't matter if guys aren't making shots. Like I think Kevin Wright just said it. The ball moves faster than the players. Move the ball around, and you're going to get higher probability shots if it gets in the hands of a guy who has less of the defense on him. But Julius Randle doesn't want to do that. So, look, I agree with both of y'all guys. I feel like a point guard, if it's me, if I'm Frank, I'm like, yo, I'm calling for the ball. And when we go to the locker room, we got to fight. We got to fight about it because you messing up the team. We ain't winning because of you. But on the flip side, I think that Thibodeau's only coached 2 games. Thibodeau's not dumb. I think he's allowing this to happen because, again, he wants to see who the guy's going to step up, who the guy's going to think on a higher level if I'm not calling plays from, right? So Thibodeau's allowing this to happen. But I think when Thibodeau he's allowing this guy to get his vibe. But again, I don't think Thibodeau's going to sit there and tolerate it where Julius Randle, again, is doing his stupid moves where he's, freaking spin moving. Or yesterday where I saw he drives to the basket, gets near the foul line, sees a Obi Toppin cutting and doesn't make the pass and dribbles it back out. I was like, dogs, what are you doing? So, again, Thibodeau's not stupid. This is allowed to happen. But I agree with you, Rob. Call Randle.
I'll say this. If you look at it, Randle doesn't play with DSJ. I don't think Randle and DSJ have been on the court at the same time. Maybe a few seconds.
Thank the Lord.
But Randle plays with Elbert Payton, his buddy. So you're talking about his buddy, who's usually the starting point guard when Randle is on the court the majority of the game. So you can't go to your buddy and be like, "Look, dog,
give me the ball. Give me the ball."
So let's just end this Randle thing. Let's move on to somebody else. Because we all know how we feel in the chat. I think getting sick and tired of him, but Randle too.
Yep. Let's just a quick.
Say one more thing before we go off the Randle.
Sure, absolutely,
one more thing, Steve. Hey, look, if they take the ball from Randle, if they can get the ball out of Randle's hands, Randle's career can be salvaged as a New York Knick. If a strong point guard steps into his shit, you can salvage him. Other than that, he's gonna have to go.
I think you can't cure selfish, man. So quick shout out to the chat. Ghetto Intellect, he was on the morning drive with Freezy a few days ago, and man, wisdom. It was a real pleasure listening to him.
Yeah.
Was he the one on with Chuck, Chuck, and Freezy?
No, not today.
Okay, because that guy that was on this one, I enjoyed listening to him later on in the day when I was listening to it.
The real king, Kaiser Soze, Gregory Castillo, OG. So thanks, everybody. Really appreciate it. Again, salute to the chat. Please hit those subscribe, like, and reminder buttons. Support our boy Freezy. Also, shout out to the mods, Sima, Bodega, New York Knicks. Your efforts are greatly appreciated. And please, like I just said, don't forget to check out Knicks Morning Drive with Freezy. This morning's show was fire. So let's change things up and maybe get back to Tibbs. I know it's a preseason game and he's trying out different rotations and looks. And we talked about it yesterday that I just have no idea why he's allowing Randle to bring that ball up. But, things like he had one of his rotations, he had Quickly as the point guard and Frank as the off guard. And I thought Quickly was the shooter, the sniper that we wanted. And, I'm tired of people saying that, Frank, he's a good corner shooter. He shoots 2, there really isn't statistically, he shoots 2 a game. So, and also he's only good from the left corner. From the right corner, he's 10% lower than the league average. But
when he has opportunities, he takes. when he has his opportunities. But then again, when does he get those opportunities?
Kevin, let's go with stats. Let's go with stats. Let's stop with this. What he's
Right.
been doing, he has not been.
I'm just saying what I saw.
We guys not finished with players that we like, man. We all it's like on this chat, man. You know, Steve is telling you, hey, this is what it is. It don't like Bill Parcells, man. You are what your record says you are, right?
He shoots 28% from the right corner three, Frank. But also he didn't run any sets for Obi. You know, he didn't. You know, you just let him out there to create his own shots, and that's not his strength. So let it rip, fellas. You know, Guillermo, you want to take it?
Again, he is seeing what these guys do when they play naturally together. Who are the smart guys? Who are the guys with the high IQ to get themselves in the proper position? I agree, right? Obi was playing way too much in the perimeter, right? But why is that Obi? Did Obi go out and say, "Yo, hey guys, you know, let me stay here, let me be around here, blah blah." Again, this is just my personal opinion. I could be totally wrong, but I'm just seeing from how Thibodeau is, right? Playing with all these young guys, I think he's taking that approach to see who are the guys who have the high level of understanding the game, right? Is it Obi? Does Obi have that? Because everybody says, "Oh, Obi's an offensive, you know, a beast and that stuff," right? But is it that Obi? You know, can he develop understanding of the game on a high level? Like the first game we saw him when he was in the post baseline. I mean, this dude was looking good, but why couldn't he get himself in that position, right? Again, guys like, you know what I mean? So again, I'm not too caught over that. Again, I think that Obi is a guy that he's going to need a proper point guard to get the best out of him, kind of like how Amari and Nash were. But it doesn't hurt to have these younger guys until that happens, to have these guys understand the game at a high level while they're developing. Yes, things are going to be ugly. Why not develop the ugly parts of your game or have those growing pains when you can? There are a bunch of guys that we have right now that are going through the growing pains they should have went through their rookie year, going through it in their third year in the NBA. So
yeah, man.
I have no problem with me going through his lumps. Take as many, again, I say this all the time. Peyton Manning had 28 interceptions his rookie year. Your rookie year, I want to see you take ugly attempts. I want to get it all out so we have something next year to go by so we can slowly build your game. Even as the season's going along, slowly you build your game up. But Obi, I don't know if it goes to what I'm saying, he needs to find a way to get himself in the block. He needs to speak with, the guys out there on the court, Knox, whatever. Maybe he needs to help these guys up. Again, become a student of the game, and it becomes a lot more easy for you.
Yeah. Mr. Cleveland?
So we're talking about Tibbs or Frank?
Tibbs.
No,
Tibbs.
Tibbs.
I think we're talking about Obi.
Okay, but
No,
you know what?
I said Tibbs didn't run any plays for him.
Really, because you open my mind up to think about something. This is the preseason. We know that, right? Our young rook from the Brook have not had an opportunity to be showcased. We need to showcase this young man, not for glamour and glitz and for highlights, but we need to get this guy acclimated because there was no summer league. We need to get him to find out what this guy can do because all them other guys on the team, we know what they do. We don't know how this guy fits with this team yet. We know what we've seen in college and we know what we've seen in the first game. That first game should have been enough to say, hey, let's focus this thing on Obi. Let's see what Obi can do because he needs to get up to speed like fast in a hurry. So when you look at this team, Frank, I don't want to see DSJ play point guard again this year. I'm not even making no jokes. I'm serious. I don't want to see that. I've seen enough of that. We need to just rock out with Frank and Alfred Payton. But I really want to see. That's why I hate Austin Rivers is hurt because I really think when they brought him here, I think they kind of envisioned him taking over that starting point guard role because he just listening to his press conference when he got here, he was giving off exuding this aura, man. And I don't know if everybody else picked up on it, but he seemed more strong-willed than I thought he was. But
absolutely.
If he got into his dad genes in him, I wouldn't be surprised because if you think back to Doc's stint here with us, and even as a coach, Doc is real fiery. So look like Mr. Austin Rivers got some of that in him, especially when he said he didn't want to ride no waves. So really, Tibbs, I want to see Tibbs showcase our rookie, man, because that last game, that's a shame the way they treated that kid, man. They had him on the outside looking in. Like he's some foreigner trying to knock on the door, like trying to get in. Come on, man. And I ain't trying to even make no jokes about foreign people, man. Because hey, at the end of the day, this thing is serious behind me, man. I just want to see us do good. I don't care who it is. I just want to see us do good.
Hey, real quick, how long can a groin injury last for?
That's tricky, man. It's very tricky.
It's like a hammy, man. You
can't play with that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think he said it was a pull and not a strain, which pulls can be worse than strains.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
K. Wright, you want to take it?
I'll get on Tibbs with this. And we all, were really excited that they brought in this developmental staff to work with the individual players. Johnny Bryant with the guards, and I guess Woody and Kenny Payne with the big men. But what I don't understand is a lot of teams have coaches that, they either are the defensive coaches or offensive coaches. And I looked at our coaching staff and it's like, well, who's kind of putting the offensive game plan together? Yeah. Because Tibbs isn't really an offensive-minded and I hate to use like a football kind of terminology. Tibbs really isn't all that focused on the offensive side.
Incorrect.
I don't think that is incorrect.
Incorrect. If you go back and look at what he did with the Bulls and the Wolves,
let me take a time out with that.
I'm sorry. I'll answer that later. My bad.
If you want to bring that up, Tibbs did have an MVP superstar and Derrick Rose to build an offense around. And it wasn't that hard to put the ball in Derrick Rose's hands and just say, go.
Everybody knew.
And
that wasn't
when Derrick Rose got hurt, he had more veteran players that understood the game. Your Kirk Heinrichs, your Mike Dunleavy's.
But they were running an offensive scheme that Tibbs put in.
But his thing, it's so much easier to put in an offensive scheme when you have like Luau Dangs and Pau Gasol to players like think and know the game. They can execute certain just small. It can be like the most rudimentary type of offense, but because you have highly intelligent players to run it, it can run smooth.
So if they have Derrick Rose, who's so naturally talented, right? Why were they running the triangle with Derrick Rose? The triangle is run to hide, or basically it doesn't showcase the talent of a point guard, right? So again, Tom Thibodeau, and I think there was a fallacy that I fell for when I first heard about the hire. I was like, he's defense, blah, blah. But when you look at it, he had the 9th ranked offense one of the years with the Timberwolves, right? There's a team that everybody said, Wiggins and Cat, their head cases. He had the number 9th offense in the league. And I forgot
say what you want about Wiggins and Cat defensively. Offensive, they are very gifted players. Cat is a very gifted offensively gifted player. Say what you want about him playing defense.
They're not playing together anymore, and yet they're not playing. It's funny, they're not playing together anymore, right? And the funny thing is about that Bulls team, right? After they went down, after Rose went down, he had a lot of players who you look at. Some were older, some were not offensive. He still had an offensive system that got the best out of them. Jakim Noah's not an offensive force, right? He made him one of the better passes in the game, got him to number 5 in MVP voting. Carlos Boozer was probably on his last legs, still made him a viable. Luol Deng, I believe, had an injury at the beginning of Tibbs' reign or tenure, or like with Vinny Del Negro, that kind of sapped him of his natural physical ability. But he still got a lot out of him. He was getting value out of guys like Aaron Brooks, C.J. Watson. He made Jimmy Butler into an offensive threat. This is a guy who was mostly a defensive guard. He's basically like the Westbrook of that team, not in terms of play, right? In style play.
My whole thing is I'm not about to sit here and confuse Tom Thibodeau with Mike D'Antoni.
No. That's not the point. The thing about that, people look at him, and because of his tenure, they think that he does not focus on offense. He does. I think about it. It's just that the defensive intensity that he brings on. He's a coach that he wants both sides of the ball that he to be properly nuanced. So people think, this guy got an injury.
But that's like I said. Do you believe that with the Bulls? Let's say the Bulls, because they had smarter veteran players, and you can put in a rudimentary type of offense, and know that I have some of the smartest basketball people to run it, so it's gonna look efficient Not great, but efficient, because my players are going to run it efficiently. Dang, Dunleavy, Heinrich, even Boozer, Gasol, Noah, smart players. They can run an offensive system efficiently. That doesn't mean that they're in a great offensive system.
Yeah, but again, you're looking at like with that Bulls team, right? That team was going to be ranked number 5 in offense, right? You just named a whole bunch of guys who they're not bums by any stretch of the means, but all those guys you mentioned were not in their primes when they're playing with the Bulls. Boozer was not in his prime. Dang was surely not in his prime. Pau Gasol was definitely not in his prime.
Dang was in like his
mid-20s. He was 24.
Dang was in his mid-20s when Tibbs got there.
Didn't Dang have his better years with Vinny Del Negro? His better offensive years?
No. It was really with Tibbs.
He became a two-way player with Tibbs.
Yeah, he had his best seasons with Tibbs.
Ben Gordon too. Shout out to Bodega.
I forgot about Ben Gordon.
Ben Gordon was
You're
real
100%
nice.
Yeah, from 2004 to 2012, Guillermo.
Say it again?
2004 through 2012, Deng was on Chicago.
Right. Yeah, I'm looking at it now. And then Tibbs came for 09, no, 08, 09, was it? Or 10, 09,
I think
10? 09. So yeah, he did. I'll give that to you. He definitely had his better years with Tom Thibodeau. But even Luol Deng, when you look at Luol Deng wasn't, a top offensive player. Don't get me wrong. He did average 19 for one of the years he played with Tibbs, right?
I'm not going to lie to you. It is my dream. I literally dream that Kevin Knox can become Luol Deng. Okay. Like, if that's his ceiling, I would be more than happy.
I don't think he'll get there on the defensive end. Offensively, he has the ability to be as good. The ability.
Here's the thing about Deng. Deng was never, even when he was like 100% healthy, Deng was never the most athletic wing. He wasn't the fastest or the strongest or the most agile. He knew angles. He knew how to properly position himself.
He was physical too.
I mean, he was physical.
Wait,
but my thing, like I said,
you just contradict yourself. How can you sit here and say that Tom Thibodeau doesn't focus on offense, but he got the better years out of Luol Deng, and all the things you're saying that Luol Deng is not athletic or all that stuff, but he gets spots, and that doesn't come from some of Tom Thibodeau's coaching?
No, I'm not saying that.
A lot of it came from it.
Listen to what I said. I said, could you have smart players who can take your system and even like I said, even if it can be a rudimentary system, if your players are smart enough to just be efficient within the system.
Yeah, but the triangle, hold up. The triangle's not some rudimentary system, right? And yeah, you have to
like he ran the triangle. That was his main offense. He might have ran sets from time to time. That wasn't his main offense.
He ran it 25% of the time, but again, after Derrick Rose went down, that percentage probably went up because again, they didn't have a guy who could take guys one-on-one. They depended on that triangle a lot once Derrick Rose went down, right?
You're right about that. I can see Heinrich right now if I was asleep.
Yes, Heinrich was not beating anybody off the dribble one-on-one. You could probably take on
the Bulls, other than Derrick Rose and maybe Ben Gordon, had anyone that could beat anyone off the dribble.
Yeah.
Mike Dunleavy wasn't crossing nobody up, getting to the lane.
You just alluded to the main part of this team. The main part with this team.
No, what I'm saying is the one thing you can say about all those players is they were highly intelligent players. They knew how to play the game of basketball, and they knew how to play the game of basketball together. So
okay,
you put them with a good coach, yes, but I don't think Dibbs was over there forcing offense and coming up with the most creative offensive plays. No, he put in a system that was good for the players that he had, and he had his really good players execute that because he knew they were efficient at what they wanted them to execute.
So, Steve, I want to ask you a question. I need you to look up info on that Chicago Bulls team and tell me how many players on that team were not one and dones. Because that's very vital to what I'm thinking right now. And Guillermo, I think you know exactly where I'm going with this.
Give me a second, fellas, while you keep going.
Well, what years? From what? You need a year still.
You know, the years that they was with Tibbs. Well, the year that they came in the league. I just want to know those players that was on that team
I think
I mean,
The first year Tibbs was in 2010, 2011, where they won 82 games.
okay, that roster.
All right, that
Yeah.
roster, okay.
I think the only one would be Derrick Rose.
He was the last year of the one and done because they quit it after Rose.
Oh, well, I know for a fact Noah
They
was
stopped
more
it
than one
after
because
Rose.
he won two national championships. So I know
Yeah, I know
Noah.
that much about him, but I
He's
don't know.
one and done.
I know, but
Dang was I think one and done.
They stopped the one and dones after Rose.
Right.
I
Hey
don't know
guys,
if Dang was more than 1 year.
I'm signing out, y'all. If I don't hit y'all up tomorrow, I'll hit y'all up on game day, on the game night after the game and everything. Okay. But I love you guys, man. Y'all insight is just incredible, and I just appreciate y'all. All right.
Cornerstone
Hey,
is always
Friday,
a pleasure.
is ahead for us Knicks fan, man.
Yes,
Get ready.
sir.
Yo,
Okay,
Absolutely.
so you want the
Take
answer,
care.
fellas?
Sorry about that loss, Kevin. Sorry about your Steelers loss, man.
You had to say that.
Take care. Have a nice evening.
Man.
All right, so going down, Omar Asic, Keith Bogans, Carlos Boozer, Ronnie Brewer, Luell Dang, Taj Gibson, James Johnson, Kyle Korver, John Lucas, Joakim Noah, Derek Rose, Brian Scalabrine, Kurt Thomas, CJ Watson.
That's the most unathletic team I have ever heard put it together.
How many of those
in my
guys
life.
were one and dones?
One and done in the league, you mean?
No, one and done out of college coming into the league.
Oh, that
Ronnie Brewer, yeah.
I think it's just Rose.
I think Rose
I know
and
Noah
Dang.
wasn't a one and done.
Nah, I think just Rose.
Someone said
Both
Luell
of
Deng was the one and done. Was Luell
I think
Deng
Luell
one?
Deng
Rose
might
and
have been-
possibly Taj Gibson too.
I think
Taj
he
Gibson
played
and
too.
I think he only played 1 year at USC.
Yeah,
Taj Gibson and Rose.
Yeah.
There you go. Remember what I said about how Obi was looking to me? Looking when I was seeing him in practicing with Julius, he looked like he'd been there before. He didn't look like somebody that was a rookie. Even the first game, he didn't look like a rookie other than, that defensive stuff where he got caught with the up fake. But that happens to even guys who've been in the league a long time. But that's my point. This Knicks team, and I think that's what you're going to see the focus on. We're not going to just be going for guys for potential no more. I think they're going after guys that have been in the league for, in college for a while and have been coached right. Where they don't have to try to put so much development into them.
Well, if you're getting a pick after 5, you can afford to do that. But if you're in the top 3 and potential is out there and that's the number 1 player, you'd be a fool not to get him. But for right now, if you from 5 and up, yeah, you can do that. I don't see no problem.
Dang was also 1 year at Duke.
Dang, okay. But you can be assured of this as long as we got Tibbs, we ain't gonna be no number 1, getting no number 1 or even number 3 pick. That's not happening. Not with Tibbs coach teams.
Well, let's give Tibbs it. He got a show too, Ron. He just got here. We said the same thing about the used car salesman that he come from Pratt Riley Tree. He gonna do this. He gonna do that. Now come on,
right.
man.
Tibbs got a track record.
We got to still keep it 100.
But Tibbs got a track record.
But
Tibbs got a track record.
I'll give Tibbs a benefit of the doubt. I know.
Exactly. I don't think we're gonna be in no lottery with Tibbs.
I'm not saying that we don't. Only thing I'm saying is this here. He got to show us too.
I tell you what, I ain't gonna be surprised if when we win 30 games this year or more. I'm not gonna be surprised because as I go back to that game, Guillermo, think about this, fellas, y'all. Everybody in the chat, we played terrible in that last game, and we still was close enough. If we would have made a few, just even half our free throws, and them bunnies that they missed, RJ with that layup, if we would have. The outcome could have been totally different from us right now. We would have been talking about 2 wins.
It's still when they changed our problems. We still without a point guard.
It would have changed our problems because we would have had a different conversation. We wouldn't be talking about Tibbs and the like we talking about him.
We would still be saying we don't have a point guard. Who ain't getting minutes.
Well, yeah, we might be talking about that.
We would have been hiding the problem.
But we wouldn't be talking about Tibbs. Tibbs wouldn't even be the issue right now. We'd have been like, man, we 2-0. And we would be feeling good. I'm gonna admit, it, Guillermo. People wouldn't be saying what we're saying right now. But don't discredit Tibbs Tibbs, I'm gonna give Tibbs the benefit of the doubt because I didn't seen too much evidence to how he coaches his team and what he does with teams. Even that Boston team, and Doc Rivers have not been the same since Tibbs left him.
All right.
Here's
Hey,
what
look,
I
I'm
think
gonna put the
I agree
video
with Ron.
on you. We 5-15 after 20 games.
Here's what I say, and I agree with Ron. He does everything given their new context, right? Because again, even though Kevin would say those teams weren't the most talented, those Chicago Bulls teams, even without Rose, they're still. I mean, this is the least talented team Tibbs has coached, right? So just because Tibbs has done well with veteran teams or teams that were young but had talent like Wiggins and Cat, Teague and Shabazz Muhammad, Zach LaVine for a year, right? Again, this is probably the hard, and he said it. This is going to be an uphill battle, right? Given the fact that you have so many disjointed players on this team who aren't, uberly talented, where it's like, just go out and play and give me 35 wins, 40 wins off the back, right? So again, we don't know what Tibbs is going to do. Tibbs could come here and itch the bed. He could come here and lead this team to 50, not this team, but eventually lead us to 50, 60 wins. But we have to just judge him objectively. Clean the slate. Look at everything objectively. Let's not. If we go 2-0, or if we went 2-0, I would still been look like, what are the individual developments of each player? That's how we should look at it. Stop looking at this thing.
Yeah,
we're getting wins. These wins do not mean nothing. These points do not mean nothing. RJ Barrett, it's a shot fix. Frank Ntilikina, it's a shot fix. Is he more aggressive? DSJ, is he point guard? Julius Randle, is he stopped being a freaking idiot? You know what I mean? Look at the development of individual players and how they fit into what Tom Thibodeau is trying to do. That's how we should look at it.
Yeah, Tibbs, by the way, his first season in Chicago won 62, and going forward 62, 50, 45, 48, 50. Then his first year at Mini, the last year at Chicago, 32 win. I apologize. The last year at Chicago was 50 wins, then 31 at Minnesota's first season, 47 the next season. And then he was fired after 19 games. 19
Chicago was already in the playoffs.
Both them locations with Tibbs. How many games did he win before he got there? The year before he got there.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you, bro.
In both those situations with Tibbs, how many games did those teams win the year before he got there?
21. The first year they won 21 more games. The first time he got to Chicago, and they won 2 more games the first year he got to Minnesota.
Wow.
So they were 20 They was already 21 up.
So that means they was 500 when Tibbs got. They were 41 and 41.
Yeah, they was trending up. They had them trending up.
But hey,
41, and they won 62 games. So that's a 21 game.
21 wins is more than a trend.
That ain't something to sneak.
That's more than a little tick. 21 game improvement
that's major.
It's amazing.
That's saying something.
That says a lot.
If it was like 5 or 6 games, I'm like, okay, whatever. But 21 is.
And that tells you that the players bought into what the coach was selling.
That's my thing. I think these players that we have, maybe other than Julius, at times, are buying into.
Not that Julius, man. Come on.
I'm just saying. I don't know if Julius is. I think the team overall is buying into what Tibbs is saying. And you heard a lot of these players say, Tibbs got with them in the offseason, and I think they've taken the steps that Tibbs wanted them to take. Just because we haven't seen the result yet on the court doesn't mean they've done and bought into what Tibbs is trying to get them to do.
Somebody in the chat said they had just got D Rose when they won them 21 games too.
I think he was there for 1 year with Vinny Dell, right?
I don't know. They said somebody in the chat said that.
I don't think Tibbs drafted Rose. I think Rose was there.
I think he came with him.
I think he was there.
I think he might have been there a year before.
I think he was there a year before. I think
he was. 2008-9 was his first year in the NBA. Derrick Rose. Yeah. So it was basically 2 years. He was in the league 2 years prior to Tibbs taking command.
He was ready to pop. That was the Derrick Rose MVP season.
Yeah.
That's when Tibbs unlocked him.
That's 21 games right there.
Tibbs unlocked him.
Just real quick, salute to the chat. We're at 92 likes. Let's get it up to 100. Let's hit that milestone. So again, salute. Please hit those likes, subscribe, and reminder buttons to support our boy Freezy. Also, again, shout out to the mods, Sima Bodega, New York Knicks. Your efforts are greatly appreciated. And also just shout out to Manchild, Delano Steele, Ella Wise, Alwin Duarte, Julian Tran, Boost Mobile, and others, man. We really appreciate your support. Hey, so let's start with you, Kevin. Did you watch the game? All right, the other Kevin's not here. So, Kevin, did you watch the game again?
The yesterday's game?
Yeah.
Yes.
So when I watched it, Mr. Knox looked even worse, man. I know 12 minutes, 2 points, 0 from 2 from 3.
I didn't know we was going
a -8. Hold on, a -8 plus my, trying to be positive. He did have 4 rebounds, but those air balls are cringeworthy. Let me ask you, when do you think there'll be time? When is it time for us to say, let's give Iggy a chance? Take it.
Ooh, good one.
Here's my thing with Iggy. There's a reason why Iggy hasn't played. As fans, we just love that underdog kind of thing. Like we just root for him so much. But it's like there has to be a reason that we on the outside as fans aren't seeing. And so maybe, just maybe, and I hate to, say this and break a lot of people's hearts, maybe Iggy just ain't that good. And that's just something that we had to realize. It's like we wanted to be good because he's a Knick and he's a second rounder and he's gritty and he looked good in the G League. But it's like maybe he's just not NBA caliber good enough.
So we don't think Iggy's good, but Knox has left no doubt.
No, here's my thing. Do you think if Iggy outplayed Knox in practice, then Iggy would be playing?
Well, Knox outplayed a couple of guys, and he got drafted off that. And how well did that do for us?
Practice.
Here's my thing. People talk about Mikal Bridges like Mikal Bridges is an all-star or something. Mikal Bridges really ain't that good.
He's better than Knox.
He's better than Knox.
He's better than Knox.
Really?
Yes, he is. And he's part of the reason why they got rid of Oubre, because they look at him as he's shown in that bubble. Like they show, we could move Oubre. Not say Oubre is not talented. Obviously, Oubre is. But yeah, Mikal Bridges is coming on better than Knox.
And then also he's at a totally different level defensively too. Totally different.
Yeah.
Here's the thing about, and I guess I'm not gonna make this about Knox. I make this about Iggy.
No, let's start with Knox and we'll segue to Iggy. So okay, I want to hear your assessment of Mr. Knox.
No, here's my thing. And like I said, I've seen Kevin Knox be good in the NBA, regardless of what. But still, I have seen Kevin Knox be good. And it's like, okay, we just need you, Kevin, to mentally get to that point so we don't have to worry about you. Because we know it. We've seen it. We've seen you on an NBA basketball court be the best player on the court.
I've seen Jamal McGlory have a good season. What does that mean? Like,
I'm just saying.
If you're not doing it consistently, if you have to be the star.
Did RJ Barrett win Rookie of the Month?
Somebody said no hard. Kevin Knox.
No, he did not. Did Kevin Knox win Rookie of the Month? Not Rookie of the Week or Rookie of a Game. Rookie of the Month.
That means December
for a stretch of time, Kevin Knox was the best rookie in the game. Kevin Knox was third in 3-pointers made as a rookie, behind Luka and Trae Young.
Yeah, but made, not efficiency, right? So what was his efficiency from 3-pointer?
It's efficient. It's what he did. He has done these things.
It does matter because he played on a terrible team.
What was Kevin Knox's? I'll look it up.
I got it. What do you want? I have it right here, man. What do you need?
Was it mid-30s?
His 3-point percentage.
His 3-point percentage was his rookie year was 34%, and last year was 33%.
So he's basically Alec Burks before Alex Burks had his little spurt the last 3 years. That's what you're saying.
No, Kevin Wright is a hater. This guy is
like Alex Burks. You say, Alex Burks had an uptick the last couple of years. He's a great 3-point shooter. So that's what you're saying. So you can't sit here and say on one span about one player
Kevin is
and not say the same thing about another player.
Kevin is a hater.
I'm using y'all's arguments against you. That's what you said.
Wow, Kevin is a
You just said,
hater.
"Oh, Alec Burks had an uptick, so now Alec Burks is a great 3-point shooter."
He's going down swinging. If you're gonna go after Knox, he's gonna bring that every
I'm not.
You better get out of that burning house, Kevin.
I smell shit over here, boy.
Wow, this is Kevin. This is sad, man. Kevin,
My
Burks
thing is
had
this
nothing to do
with
with
Kevin
that.
Knox. My thing is this. Kevin Knox has all the tools. He has all the tools. He just has to know how to use those tools.
Do you know how long a line there is of NBA players that you could say that about?
There is.
Yeah.
There is. But my thing is this, like Ron always says, as long as he's wearing that blue and orange, I'm gonna believe in him till the wheels fall off.
I can't knock you on that one. I can't disagree with you on that one.
That wheel's getting squeaky, bro. So
Yeah, you're right.
Listen,
Need some oil.
it is about to.
Hey, it's up. I'm not going to sit here because
Will don't get the ball.
my whole thing is like this. If you believe Kevin Knox is not going to hit a 3-pointer all season and sit him on the bench and don't play him at all.
We're not saying he's not going to hit a 3-pointer. We're saying that
y'all saying it looked bad. RJ looked bad at the beginning, then he pulled it together. I'm saying I believe that Kevin Knox can pull it together.
But RJ has an elite skill of getting to the basket. We have not seen Knox demonstrate he has any elite skills.
On any consistency. On any consistency. The thing with RJ Barrett, you can get RJ Barrett about shooting. Sorry to cut you off, Rob. Apologies for that. You can talk about RJ Barrett with shooting, all that stuff, right? But every time you see RJ Barrett, right, you at least see him trying to push the tempo, him trying to get to the cup, him trying to make something happen. Kevin Knox is almost as if he's still trying to learn, like he's still trying to get to a basic level. Like yesterday, for instance, right? The two air balls, the one air ball he had, I think it's near the wing. It was the air ball where he was like covered, and it's like he was just trying to force something to happen, just to get himself in the game. And it's like, it's one thing where RJ's driving to the basket, right? There's a logic and reason why what he's trying to do, right? It's like, okay, I got space off the pick and roll. I'm gonna get to the basket, have a free lane. Now I gotta maybe try to get around this one last defender. Let me try to do a Euro step. Okay, I missed a layup, right? Everything seems to kind of make sense when he's doing it, right? There's logic to it, right? But Kevin Knox is just like, let me just react. I got to get into the game because I'm not scoring, I'm not doing something, I'm not producing, right? So there's a difference when RJ Barrett is doing it. And RJ Barrett is finding ways to try to get better at doing it. Obviously, only 2 games of preseason. Can't really judge him like that. But Kevin Knox, this is, his third year? Was it? No, Kevin? Yeah, it's his third year, right?
Third year.
His third year, man.
And you're watching him and he's just like,
so let me just say, you just said this whole time, since Friday, you're saying, oh, it's the preseason and these players have to learn. And it's the first time that we've seen them in 9 months and 2 preseason games. I mean, here's my thing. He's not as bad as DSJ, or you can say like Knox is just lost.
I agree.
Like you can't say that Knox is lost. You can say he's been unproductive, but he's not lost.
I can say this defensively in DSJ's defense. He's been better than Knox defensively.
Has he?
Yes,
absolutely.
He has.
Absolutely.
Yes.
He's been harassing and disruptive out there on that perimeter. Got to give him his credit.
I look at some of that about
look at the games.
Here's my thing with that, and I'll say this about Knox is maybe they've tried to hide him on defense because it's not like he's out there and his man is out there.
Hey, lean back again, Kevin. I think the ghost of Kevin Knox is behind you.
Here's my thing. Like I said, to say this, and I watched it. The first game, because I have them both recorded. The first game when Kevin Knox was on Sekou Doumbouya didn't do anything. And maybe that's Kevin Knox, maybe that's the game plan that Detroit has. And that's a fact. And you can't say anything else because I watched the game. Sekou Doumbouya didn't do anything on Kevin Knox. The second game, Sekou Doumbouya just went off.
So you think Knox can be our 3-and-D?
I think he can. I think like I said, because Knox has the tools.
Chat, give me your answers in the chat. I want to see the people in the chat.
Do
y'all think Knox can be 3-and-D?
They probably.
I want to start seeing them answers.
The wrong question.
Yes
It's not can he. It's not can he. It's will he. Kevin, do you think Kevin
We don't
Knox
know
will be-
that right now. We do not know. My thing is when on there's so many players who takes a while. And Chris Middleton's third year, you didn't think he was going to be an all-star player.
He was a second-round pick.
Shout
didn't
out
even
to the
know
home,
who Chris
shout out to the
Middleton
homie from
was.
Boston.
Rob the Nick. Rob the Nick just destroyed your whole point, man. He's a
What?
second-round pick, and he's overperforming for his value compared to Knox.
Was
Kevin,
Chris Middleton a
Chris
second-round pick?
Yeah.
Look.
You didn't know him?
No, I'm using Chris Middleton as an example. As some people will have to work harder to get there, but some people just take a little bit longer to get to that point.
Kevin, let me say something real quick. Kevin Knox, this third year is so extremely pivotal for him that he may not, because he has to flash as to whether he's going to be that type of player, right? Because if the Knicks go into next season, right, they get the draft pick, maybe there's a player.
Draft.
Right. They might look at that position for and once that happens, you're almost as good as gone. Right. Even if you have a so-called good year, they're looking at you like, well, we drafted this guy. We're sticking to him because this is the regime choice, right? A lot of times
Middleton went to the G League before he came back up.
Does Knox need to the G League?
Draft.
Does Knox need the G League, Kevin?
He do.
Christian Wood.
Look at Kevin. Kevin.
No, I'm looking at
Don't you ever see the cartoons where someone's drowning? You see one finger, then
No,
two
here's my
fingers,
thing.
then
Like I
three
said,
fingers.
I'm not going to sit here because I've heard. Let me rephrase that. I'm not going to sit here and say that Kevin is, like I said, he's not lost. I think he's worked really, really hard. And the whole thing about Kevin Knox is it was all mental. That's the number one thing a lot of people said about Kevin Knox. With him, it's just mental. He has to mentally be there and put himself in that in that position to succeed. The organization has given him everything that he needs to do it. And not me, not anyone else. It's up to Kevin Knox to put it together. Do I think that he can? I hope so.
When we talking about somebody else, we been on Kevin Knox again.
Well, we were talking because I want to talk about Iggy, but then they're like, "Oh no, let's talk
No,
about
let's segue to,
You brought up Kevin.
let's segue to
Kevin.
Iggy, but I will say this: answer one last question, Kevin. Do you think maybe the difference his rookie year was he wasn't thinking so much?
I said that in the beginning. He just needs to play.
Good
Some
point.
people just need to play and have it come together. But I also think he needs. Here's my thing, and I promise you, I believe this wholeheartedly. Once Kevin Knox sees that shot go down, I think the game will be so much easier for him.
Well, call your boy and tell him to go to the basket.
He's pressed a lot because he's trying to get. He feels like I worked so hard on this shot this summer. I worked so hard on it. He's pressing. He just needs to see it go down.
You just gave me a good question to ask Steve. Steve, how many foul shots does Knox take a game?
He takes two. Last year he took one foul shot a game in his rookie season. 2.2. Three. He took three his rookie season and 1.6 last year.
That ain't good.
Well, he only played 12 minutes a
As
game.
big as he is, he need to get about 5 to 7.
You know what? Knox operates too far from the basket. That's what causes him problems.
Perimeter-oriented guy.
He steps
I'll
in
say this.
space.
I'll say this. Go ahead, Ron.
He steps in space. You see, RJ operates from foul line down, and he gets the ball, so it's easy for him to make a move. I think he get that from Zion. You can see those operate. It draws you fouls. When you start all the way out and you got to put the floor on the floor, go through your legs around the back, and then look for a crease to go into the basket, then you don't get the crease, and then you pull it up, you off balance.
And that's why you have those ugly floaters from him.
Yeah. I'll say this about the first game
Like
I've never seen from Kevin Knox. And he scored, I think he scored on the first time. I think he got fouled onto the free throw on the second time. When he called for the ball in the post. It was the first time I've ever actually seen Kevin Knox call for the ball.
I remember that play.
He sealed the man out and called for the ball. Like I said, the first time he scored, the second time he got fouled and went to the line. I'm Tom Thibodeau. I am saying I'm wanting to see Kevin Knox on the block.
You know what he need to do? He need to get punched in the face by Randall so they can trade Randall, and then he
Make one for the team.
might have to be swole for about 2 weeks, though. But
Who is that? So you want him to pull? You want him to pull a Geno Smith?
that's called.
All right.
Hey, girl, I thought about something. When you started talking about Knox, and you started saying, well, is Iggy not playing that good in practice? Could it be that they know Iggy is playing better than him in practice, and they don't want to throw Iggy out there because that's going to further deflate your boy Knox trade value if they're thinking about trading him?
That's deep, man. I like that.
No, because like I said, Tibbs has said that Kevin Knox has practiced well.
Yeah, and that's an his benefit.
All last week, Tibbs basically just
But that goes to his
about
point.
Kevin.
Yeah,
But
that
here's the
goes to
thing:
his
it's
point.
something different about playing in an empty gym. Well, even though technically the games are.
Hey, look, let me say something serious. This is with no jokes aside. In the NBA, within the first 15 picks, maybe 5 of them maybe gonna start. When you go 15 up, and especially to the second round, look at the teams. None of them usually start, and then if they get a chance, they make themselves a player. So if you're talking about second round picks and you're talking about things 25 and up, it's
A 3-year process.
you can be realistically that you might never see them on the floor. And that's real speaking. So you're talking about Iggy, that was a second round pick. How many second round picks do you know that really make it in the NBA?
Well, you just said Chris Middleton, so
No, but not a lot.
You could pretty much count them on your hand. So to put Iggy in the front of your minds, you might be like kind of delusional. Because
I've always said people
the thing about it, back to what Kevin was trying to say though, is when he talked about that article that Tibbs said about Knox, and rightfully so, we know what he says. But if I'm gonna sell a car, I'm not gonna tell you everything that's wrong with it. I'm not gonna devalue that car. So
here's my thing. I don't look at Tibbs as like that used car salesman like Fizdale was. I think Tibbs is gonna tell it to you how it is. And I do believe that he was being honest about Kevin Knox. I think Kevin Knox has looked good in practice.
Don't be surprised if you see Iggy play within these last 2 games. Don't be surprised.
How many players got a DNP yesterday?
Quite a few.
I'll tell you in a sec.
Iggy, Piles, Iggy. Oh, but this one.
Iggy did. Miles did. We know them two for definite.
Miles, Powell, Iggy.
And Miles, when you look at Miles' game, you telling me
MKG,
Miles don't look like he's better than some of this stuff we
Rivers, Jared Harper.
But he's 6'1".
I don't care about size, man. I care about. I'm gonna tell you what I care about. I care about 2 things: production and heart. And if you ain't got them 2 things, you ain't gonna be in the league. You gotta have heart and you gotta have production. And look at Quickly. Quickly's small. He's out there, so we can debunk that theory. I'm telling you, do not be surprised, even if you see Powell.
But he's
during this preseason is to see what you got on your roster.
I look at it like this, and we all know for a fact that I think a lot of people, Tibbs is playing the people who he feels is going to be in his rotation, because we know the Tibbs ain't going to have a deep rotation. And so maybe he already has in his mind, like, these are the players that I'm going to roll with, the players that are playing. Is how am I going to use these players? People who aren't playing, we pretty much know they're not going to get that much burn. And it is what it is. He can't play everybody. And with the wings, you have Burks, Knox, Bullock. I feel like I'm missing somebody. Technically, RJ can play on the wing. And then with all the guard spot missing the match, there's just not enough room for Iggy. Well, so there's no point in playing him because there's not enough room for him to play. If you're not going to get that much burn, I'm not going to waste his time on getting these players adjusted to the system.
We'll revisit that after training camp, because I got a feeling Iggy going to end up playing before this preseason is over with. We'll revisit this talk.
I think he might
after preseason. We might be talking about it after the game coming up.
Here's my thing. I don't know how
one thing, Iggy, and we know why I say that. Hold on.
3 players.
And I'll let you go. Only reason why I say don't be surprised if he played, because the one thing we know that kid can do is he can shoot. And is he great at defense? No, but he ain't terrible, and he tries. Even when he was up with the big team, I saw that guy actually try to play defense, and some of them guys weren't even trying on our team. Let's be real.
Tibbs calling card.
And Tibbs like heart.
Tibbs like
defense. Exactly.
Short.
And I know I'll put Iggy out there to play defense before I will put Knox out there.
Here's like I said.
What do you think, Legion? Let me get your point on it.
Tibbs is only going to run 9 or 10 players.
I don't know with the schedule. You think he's going to expand the rotation because of the brutal, everything we're going through?
He did. He brought that up too. He said with the way the schedule is, you're going to probably see.
He said everyone will get a chance to play, but it'll be a 9 to 10 man rotation for the most part.
And there's another thing to think about Iggy too. If Iggy wasn't going to be a part of the future, they would have cut him. He wouldn't even be on the team right now.
He could still get cut. They still got to turn the roster down.
He would have been gone. He would have been gone already. So it's obvious that Tibbs is thinking about it.
They still have to cut the roster down, so somebody still got to get cut.
Yeah, true.
Right.
That's inevitable. Just because they haven't been done yet doesn't mean it's not going to happen.
Right. You could be keeping them on just to make sure, like, if an injury happens, obviously you have.
This COVID situation,
Because they still got to get down to 15 players.
I'm not crazy high on Iggy. I don't know what's happening. I mean, for me, I'm just like wait and see with him. But and because at 3 position, there's just not much competition there, right? Knox right now, it's really his for the taking. I know we have guys like Burks and stuff, but if we're talking about long term, and like Rob said, if you don't want them to draft for that position next year, you got to come out. This is the thing about
Knox. Knox is going to get his chance to start.
This is a perfect year for Knox because not again. Too many times, this is why I get mad at some of these younger players. Not to say that they're trying, but it's like you had all this time before where we really didn't have much competition in the way for some of you guys. You guys should have be as aggressive, but try your best to kill that position and show your individual talent, even if we're losing, right? Then it could be like, all right, this guy's talented, but he just needs coaching, right? He's putting up 15-8 or 15-4, right? But he just needs coaching to get him to a better level, right? That's how I look at with some of these guys. Knox right now, he's actually very lucky because that 3 position, every other position on his team is relatively stacked competition-wise. Not saying talent, but competition-wise. That 3 position is Knox for the taking. He better kill it this year.
That's what I'm saying. This is my thing. This is why I think Knox will get his chance, and it's up to him to take it. And I don't wish injury on anybody, but it's not like Alec Burks is
the you bring it up Burks a lot tonight, boy. You threatened by Burks.
No, but here's the thing. But Burks is the one who is in Knox's way.
Yeah, you threatened. You proved my point. You threatened.
But here's the thing. Like I said about Burks, it's not like he's been the model of health throughout his career. So he's gonna miss time. And that's when Knox has to get in there and be like, look, it's mine now. And if I get in there, I'm keeping it.
He can hold up. Knox is going to be in the rotation.
He'll be in the rotation. Here's my thing. He'll have to consistently outplay Burks. Because Burks right now it's him and Burks. He has to and the first game, Burks didn't really do that much. He might have had 7 points, but he didn't do much. The second game, you can say he had a good game.
Somebody in the chat said we don't know nothing other than Iggy don't get no burn.
That's all we know. Exactly. That's a good point. Whoever said that, shout out to him.
That's the truth.
Real quick to Kevin's point. Why is it that Knox couldn't? Again, you just talked about Knox. Why can't these guys beat out blah blah, right? But now you're taking it back. You said, okay, when Burks gets hurt, that's when Knox time to shine. Knox time to shine is really now in the preseason.
But here's my thing, like I said, I don't know because what all Tibbs said, and I can just go by what Tibbs said is Knox look good. Knox is coming in shape. He is this, and this. So it's like, okay, he's obviously put in the work. You heard Knox. He said, Coach Tom Thibodeau said to work on this. This is what I've been working on. And then the starting rotation came out, and Burks had a spot. So I was like, okay, maybe this Burks is the veteran. But from what I understood, what was said by Knox and Thibodeau is Knox has put in the work. So maybe he just wants to see it in game. Like, okay, Kevin, I know you put in the work in practice. I know you put in the work in off season, but now it's game time. So can you translate that over? Because I know in practice you put in this work, but can it translate over?
And going back to my point that I
want to see him leave him in there for about 40 minutes and see what he do.
That's what he has to. And it's so unfair.
Your kids out there fighting and they want to come home. You be like, oh no, take your ass back on out there.
Yeah, that's my thing. There's last night was just Knox didn't shoot well, so they yanked them after 12 minutes.
He
and then they put it back in the game. Instead of saying, okay, you played bad, play your way out of this.
Yeah.
He wasn't squaring up or anything, man.
But you still have to play your way out of it. You can't play your way out of it on the bench.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I was hoping, but we'll see, hopefully between Tibbs and Payne in both sides of his head, one ear and the other, that, just say, relax, kid. Let the game come to you. Relax.
That's the thing. He don't have no excuse this year because you got a new coach.
Like I said,
you got
I can't sit here and
Kentucky. He don't
judge
have no excuse to play like trash. None.
I can't sit here and judge how this season is going to go after 2 preseason games.
We agree.
Because he can come out Wednesday.
You keep saying the 2 preseason games.
He can come out Wednesday and just light it up.
Kev, what we're criticizing him on is not just 2 preseason games. It's a body of work from all last season. Even he had a sorry coach, but guess what your coach ain't doing?
No, because Tom Thibodeau said he's having a clean slate. Did he say that he have a clean slate coming in?
You can't bring it back up.
Hey, but come on now, Rob. What we talking? The reason why this is even a conversation.
What we seen these last 2 games. I ain't going back to last year. We gave him a clean slate.
Thibodeau said you got a clean slate.
I'm glad you brought the words back to me, Rob. I'm gonna have to stay consistent with it. Thank you. Hey, Kev, I'm gonna get off your boy because but I'm gonna tell you. You know what they're saying right now? You hear that noise? You hear that talk? You hear what's being said? You hear the air traffic controller in LaGuardia?
It's landed.
You're cleared for takeoff. It doesn't matter who's gonna be on that plane.
It's about to be a snowstorm.
Some tickets is ready now. I'm telling you, Tibbs ain't playing, man. If you think Tibbs playing, gonna sit and wait around for players to develop, you out of your mind.
He's 62.
Kevin, look at what they did with DSJ yesterday. They gave him 17 minutes, which is 1 minute, I believe, less than Alfred Payne last night or yesterday, right? Thibodeau will give certain guys, and I think he gave those minutes to DSJ to be like, look, this guy's probably close to the chopping block, so let's just see what we have as much as him, right?
Exactly.
Again, I don't have bias for anybody. If Kevin Knox kills it, I would love it. But we have to look at Kevin Knox. He has to light that fire. I mean, you mentioned that, you said that, but no more caveats. No more excuses, for Kevin Knox. None of these guys, no more. No more.
I'm with you,
Kevin Knox got to find a way to produce. That's what I'm saying. That's because, bro, he's like your boy Rob said it. Next year's draft, first of all, people get confused. They mentioned Kate Cunningham and Jalen Suggs. Those are really the only 2 so-called point guards. If you want to mention Kate as a point guard, you got a lot of other guards and a lot of wings. Very wing-heavy draft. You don't want them. You look at a guy like you look at some wings out there, and you say, do you want Kevin Knox? Do you want to give Kevin Knox 1 more year to see what you have, or are you gonna pass up on this guy?
You ain't
if
passing.
He becomes available at whatever number. Say we get the 5th, 6th, 7th pick, and there's a disgusting wing that you could take. You gonna sit and tell me you're not gonna take that guy versus Kevin Knox?
Like I said, it's up to Kevin Knox, and that's all I can see it from the outside and say I want this happen. But at the end of the day, it's up to Kevin Knox to go out. It's up to RJ Barrett to go out there and do what he does. It's up to all these players to go out there and do what he does. All I can do is sit here and say I believe that Kevin Knox has put in the work, and it just has to translate over.
And let me tell you something. You know what's the scary thing for these guys is, as much as Thibodeau ain't the president or the GM, it's almost as if he is, because of the fact of how close he is to Leon Rose. So if he tell Leon Rose, hey, this guy here ain't cutting it, what you think gonna happen?
No lie.
My only problem is by the time that happens, his trade value is nothing now anyway.
This is my whole thing.
And Leon Rose is going to get somebody.
I ain't saying it just for Kevin Knox. I'm with Guillermo, man. All these guys, man. It ain't no playtime over. Playtime is over.
Well, I promised Guillermo that we're going to get Josh Christopher, so I gotta, live up to my promise.
Hey, man, I'm not even.
I don't know if there's any center positions, if there's anybody playing the center position like that that's really standing out in college, but that might be a position they look at in the draft. Because think about it, Is Nolan Joel the long-time starter? And here's more importantly, if Mitch don't get his stuff together, is Mitch the long because they got to pay Mitch coming up.
That's what I'm telling you. All these guys on Twitter, man.
People saying, "Oh, look at the win; they're gonna replace Knox." If they can replace Mitch,
Kevin, why do you do that?
They don't pay nobody on what you gonna be. They gonna pay you for what you doing. And Mitch ain't gonna get paid for what he doing. It ain't gonna be no illustrious contract.
I'm not saying that, but there's a reason why. Here's my thing.
No more than about $45 million, I think I saw.
Here's my thing. There's a reason in Mitch's mind why he's had 6 agents.
Nobody cares what Mitch thinks. Your play on the court gonna determine what you get paid.
You got that right.
But like I said, I take into account he's had 6 agents for a reason. So Mitch in his mind thinks that he's better than what he is.
But Kevin, I'm gonna tell you right now, anybody who ain't performing should be worried.
We're gonna look at your stats.
No, I agree with that.
We're not giving you 60 million either. So quit talking about what Mitch won't. It doesn't matter. It's gonna dictate what he does on the court. That's it.
Anybody who ain't performing is in danger of being gone.
He's nobody gonna pay Mitch now on his potential. It's what you've done now since you've been in the league. That's how he's gonna get paid. He's not gonna get paid because somebody gonna say, "Well, 3 years down the line, we think you're gonna be so and so now."
Right?
Ain't gonna do that.
They're gonna look at numbers. It's about numbers.
They're gonna say, "Look, boy, you had 6 points a game and 7 blocks. We do a 2-year deal for about 18 million. You want it?"
Here's what that project to. This is the kind of money these type of numbers get you.
Mitch gonna look at those same numbers and say, "Hell yeah, I want it."
Better than that 1.6 or what?
Yeah, Mitch is making 1.66 this year. Next year, a 1.8. And you know what the crazy thing is? Just being an old guy and knowing a little about finance is he may have 6 agents, but 5 agents are getting money. The minute you sign a contract, you get rid of them. That's fine, but you're still paying them.
You're still paying them. You're right. What is it, 10%?
10% or whatever the thing. So
whatever he signed to, yeah.
So a lot of people realize that he's paying 6 agents. They're like, you want to say goodbye? Fine, but I'm getting my money and I'm not even gonna have to work from this point on. Thank you. So
man.
That's a point a lot of people don't think about.
Yeah, you still got to pay him.
Yeah. Once that contract's signed.
I enjoyed it, man. Hey, I'm gonna have to get going, but hey, Legion, we ain't get a chance to talk with my Dolphins, but yeah, we took a bad one. We took a lot of hits in that game, but I saw a lot from my rookie quarterback. I tell you that, because we could have folded in that game completely and got blown out the water.
That's beautiful. You guys lost, like I said you would. Don't try to think you.
Yeah, I know. Hey, you should be happy we lost. We in the same division.
Don't. This year, I'm not thinking about football. Look, next year you're gonna have to bow down to the elf from Death Valley, but we'll talk about that later. But
yeah, hey, I don't want to see him down there. I ain't gonna lie. I don't want to see him down there. But y'all have a good one, man. Hey, if y'all ain't subscribed to this here, man, at night, subscribe, man. Subscribe. It's the hottest thing in late night TV.
But also, everyone, please go to Ron's, check out his videos, go to his podcast, man. Great stuff. And also, obviously, Guillermo's, but please check both of those guys out, man. You're the best, Ron.
Hey, Kevin.
Yeah.
LaGuardia Airport cleared for takeoff.
He's not, guys. This guy's.
I really, I'm telling you, don't be surprised. Here's my thing. It's about matchups, and I'm so glad that we have Cleveland. Because I saw Cleveland play today. I saw one of their games today because I have the NBA League Pass. Actually, I have cable. So they look bad. Oh, I'm glad I thought about that. So last night I was I brought up Ricky Rubio. And so after doing some research, because I was bored at work earlier. So Rubio made a statement that he kind of didn't want to come off the bench. That he kind of felt like, I'm not a bench player and da 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 da. So that's one kind of thing because he's still off the bench. The second thing is Minnesota there's a report out that if put on the trade market, they'd be interested in getting PJ PJ Tucker from Houston because they need more size and grit playing next to Karl Anthony Towns. So it seems to me, one, they have a point guard who might be on the market, and two, they're looking for a power forward. I'm just going to connect the dots a little bit. I'm not a reporter. I'm not saying that this is whatever. I'm saying if I'm Leon Rose, I'm definitely calling whoever is in charge, because not Scott Layden anymore. I don't even know who's running the Minnesota Timberwolves. But I'm calling them like, look, I got a player, matches in salary, you got a need, and I got a need. Let's make this happen.
I'm with you, man. Like we talked about, he's old school. He makes the people around him better. And also I think he gets a lot of bad people looking at early his career. But last year, he has a career average from the foul line of 84%. He has a career average, even though he shot 36% last year from three, he's still shooting them around 33% for his career, 8.8% assists last year, and his career is 8 assists. He's a good rebounder, almost a little under 5. So he's a solid player. He would be a dream come true for Tibbs, man. And that's a great connected dots. Kudos.
Yeah, and I was just looking at it because I saw they played tonight and they got blown out. It looked bad. They don't play no defense. And I'm not saying Julius Randle is going to make them a better defensive team by any stretch of the imagination. They need a power forward. That's the thing that they're missing. They have a gluttony of guards right now between Russell, Rubio, Beasley, and Edwards, who they just drafted. So,
yeah,
like I said, I'm not in Begley or anyone reporting that this is going to happen. I'm just saying it's something that
it fills the needs of two different teams, and you don't want one guy sitting on the bench and that's not going to be happy, and you have need for size. We need that guy in your bench being in our starting lineup.
Yeah, and like I said, they Rubio basically. I mean, I don't think Rubio's the kind of person that's going to make a fuss, but I do think it's interesting that he put that out there.
Yeah,
saying that. So,
and at 30 is gas in the tank still, I think. So we're going to segue in a second to RJ, a little more positive talk for us. But again, quick shout out to the chat. Salute to the chat. Please hit those subscribe and reminder buttons. Support our boy Freezy. Shout out to the mods, the greatest in the world, Sima, Bodega, New York Knicks. Again, your efforts are greatly appreciated. Don't forget to check out Knicks Morning Drive with Freezy tomorrow at 8 a.m. Again, the show today was fire. And also just a shout out to Travi Tran, Sean Kearns, Nick Gay, the Professor, TL, all your supports.
That's a fascinating shirt.
Ladies and gentlemen, Freezy.
How are you, everybody.
How are you?
Hey, so I heard I had to jump in because I heard somebody was praising Kevin Knox, and I just wanted to come in with the
I thought we were getting up to stuff. Listen, I'm like a trial lawyer now. Okay, can we adjourn court today and leave my client alone? Okay.
I object.
Right. Hey, just real quick. I understand what you were saying about the Ricky Rubio thing. Man, that'd be fantastic if we could keep Randall and maybe throw in Knox and DSJ. You know what I'm saying?
I think, like I said, I really think Minnesota needs a power forward. I think that's why they were bringing it. Like I said, I did some research, just about Minnesota, which who looks at Minnesota stuff. But I know they're interested in Tucker because they need a power forward. And I was just connecting the dots. I don't think Knox or DSJ fits what they need. Like I said, they need a power forward. I don't even know who their power forward is, actually. Because I saw them play, and I remember noticing, other than Karl Anthony Towns, I don't know, they were just playing small, but they look really small. Like, I know they had Rondé Hollis out there, I think, playing the 4, but he's like a 3, really.
Right.
So, like I said, I was just connecting the dots. I'm not reporting anything's going to happen. I'm just saying you have one player who it might be borderline disgruntled, and you have a player who doesn't fit what this other team is doing. So
Yeah, I'm looking at their roster right now, and I think you're right on target, man. When you look at the forward position, they got nobody there. Nobody of quality there, really. They have to go small. They have the recycled Ed Davis there.
Oh well, yeah. They should do
Yeah.
that trade in the first place because, like I said, I don't even know who's on Minnesota. Like I said, they don't have a 4. They literally don't have a 4.
Yeah, literally. They drafted Jaden McDaniels, but he can't be a 4. You blow, you'll fall over. You're so light. So
Yeah.
Right.
Hey, Freeze, you got a favor to ask. Can you do shout out for everybody who waits for you to do your shout outs in the chat, man? They that just warms the hearts of many. Can you please do that for us?
Yeah, man. I've been watching. I've been actually looking at the chat, man. I'm like, dang, man, I miss y'all, man. This dude at work slipped on a banana peel with his dumb self, and now I can't even hang out with the homies for a little while. Man, that frustrates me, man. I mean, I can't get on here and rag Rob the Nick about how bad his Cowboys are right now. You know what I'm saying? I'll be looking forward to that all year long about how terrible. Oh, Rob, don't do that. Don't do that. Rob, don't do that. Rob, don't do that, man. Oh, man. Yeah, hey, Rob, y'all might be legit next year, man. Y'all might be legit next year. Hey, but Silica Wicked Films, are you new? Yo, we need to shout out all of the new people that come in. You know what I'm saying? And let them feel welcome to the Knicks at Night podcast. Hey, Alex Jorge, I see you. Ronnie Montero, what's good? D-Chan. Hey, Jamal, what's good? Coaches Carter is in the building. What's good? I'm K-Ban. That's my dog. What's good? One of
our favorites, Payback Carter there.
Yeah. Hey, Payback Carter in the building. I see Stephen Okongwu, what's good? Big Oso is in the building. What's good, y'all? Man, miss y'all, man. I've been listening to the thing. Look. Fifth Generation TV saying Frank Ntilikina is a 6'4" bull outlaw. Yo, Frank Ntilikina is going to be mad at y'all, man. One day Frank is going to come on here and tell us off. One day Frank Ntilikina
we won't understand
him. Yo, Kaiser Sose, I see you. What's good? Man-child in the building. JP, what's good? What's good? TL, why you not on the video chat? TL, why you not in the video chat? Come on.
Bring him in. He's been asking.
What's good?
Some of the guys asked to come in. I told them we have to wait for you.
I didn't see him. I checked the video chat about every 20 minutes. I didn't see him. Did you know who they? Do you know who they were?
I think Delano Steele wanted to get in.
Oh man, I'm looking at backstage right now, and I don't see anybody. Generally, when people are backstage, I look to see who they are, and then if it's somebody we can trust, I jump them, put them right in. But if it's somebody we don't know, I kind of, what I'm saying, check them out a little bit.
I don't think they saw the link to get in.
Okay. I guess it depends on what device they were using. You know what I'm saying? Because depending on what device you use, you can scroll back up through the chat. But we'll make sure we can look out for them next time. So, hey, Tajo, what's good? What's good? Hey, so Kev, why do we talk about Knox like that? Is Knox going to be the new Frank Ntilikina for us in terms of touchstone topics?
Here's the difference between, and it's a two-folded argument between Knox and Frank, to where people look at Frank and they're like, oh, he plays defense, and then they don't say anything else. It's like, that's it. And if this was like 1993, and that would be great, but it's not.
Right.
It's like, what else are you bringing to the table? The thing with Knox is Knox is more frustrating because I feel like Knox can do more than what he's showing. It's just why isn't he doing it? And so that's, I think, the difference. People love Frank because they have this 90s nostalgia of just the crowd chanting defense, and they knew that's what Frank does, or that's his calling card. Right. But outside of that, Frank doesn't really bring anything else to the table. Like anything.
Oh, man. Come on, man.
So with Knox, again, like I said, you see that Knox has all the tools. He just doesn't know how to use them. So that's
like
I think the difference.
Working on your car that don't know how to be a mechanic. He got the tools.
So it's like I said,
you got the right key, but the wrong keyhole.
once he like learns, okay, this is a wrench, and I got to turn the bolt with this, and this is a screwdriver, and I got to do this, and once he figures that out, Knox is going to be fine. You can know because he can do different things. Well, Frank is like, he's just going to play defense. That's it.
Man, I don't know, man. I don't know. That's harsh for Frank, man.
I mean, I'm not killing Frank, but I'm just calling it what it is. It is what it is. And I've never been like, look, I have no problem with Frank. I'm not one of these just Frank lovers. It's like, you see him, he has more pictures of him, in street clothes modeling than anything. Like, he's more Twitter famous than he is famous for what he does on the court.
Oh, man.
Frank.
Don't you think Frank has an elite skill as a defender?
He has an elite skill as a dresser. Like, he dresses very well.
Yo, hey, Fritz Alcindor in the building. And Sean Collins. I see y'all. I'm sorry, Kev. I just wanted to shout out my people, but I understand.
No, you're all right. No, you're all right.
Georgia,
like I said, Knox this is what makes Knox frustrating, because people, I believe, know that Knox can do it. He just let everybody down. But people forget that there was a one point in time that Knox was the golden child here too.
Absolutely.
It wasn't really that long ago. It was 2 years ago that he was the golden child.
That summer league put everybody's hope he was the golden child.
Fizdale left. He said, "I'm taking you with me."
He was like Fizdale was like one of the Monstars. He just took Knox's talent with him. I'm taking it and I'm just not giving it back.
Oh man.
But I believe that Tibbs and Kenny Payne, and I heard that Knox had worked with Johnny Bryant, which I find interesting. But I'm not going to be surprised if they get him back on track. That's my hope. I'm hoping that.
It's all ever hope.
But it would benefit everybody if Knox becomes the player that everybody thought he could be at one point in time.
Hey, I just want to reiterate something one more time. Hey guys, if y'all are new to the live stream, put a thumbs up in the live stream so that our family in the live stream can welcome y'all to the live stream, man. And make sure that y'all click on that subscribe button and click on notifications so that every time we go live, you'll get a notification, and so that you won't miss a second of us chopping it up about the Knicks. And plus, we also would like for y'all to keep coming back, just so that we can continue to grow the family, just so that our conversations will be more robust. So it won't be 3.5 hours of Kev, just talking about Kevin Knox. You know what I'm saying? We can talk about other players and stuff. You know what I mean? So and continue to add to the conversation. I throw Kev out there about Kevin Knox because clearly he is a Knox homer. Clearly he is. But there's nothing wrong with that. I believe in
my boy. I do. He gonna prove me right. One of these days, I'm gonna come on here and be like,
We hope so, man. All of us hope.
Hey, I'm sorry, Kaiser. My opinion about what? You wanted my opinion about what? About Knox?
Yeah, that's what I think.
Oh man, y'all don't want me. Y'all don't want my opinion about Knicks. Y'all got 7 hours for me to digest this thing about Kevin Knox. No, we probably gonna be on like what 10 more minutes or whatever, 15 minutes, man.
We're closing it down soon.
Just
a quick shout out. Just a quick shout out. We hit 114 likes tonight. Thank you so much to the chat. And we're one subscriber away from hitting the 790, man. We're a blink away from 800. Anything you could do to help us. Thank you again, everyone. Really appreciate the support.
Hey. So the thing about Knox, man, is I really didn't want to. I didn't want to come across as like a Kev troll because I'm not, man. I'm just, I would love for us to reserve judgment for all the young players and see what these guys can do, at least for the second and third year. Third and fourth year players. At least wait till about the All-Star break before we cast the last stone, I guess, about their development and time in New York. But I can't help it because you see, hey, what is that? Dan Alcinat? Hey, Dan, I can't.
No, I think you did. Dan Alcinat. I think you nailed it.
Okay. So Dan says, love the show. Question: why do we think we can get healed when Sacramento didn't match Bogey? They did that so Hill can play the two. Hey, so I'm reading it in tiny font and then it showed up here on the big screen. So I'm sorry about that. But I don't know. It's wishful thinking, in terms of what we want versus what we have the ability to acquire. You know what I'm saying? Like I legit saw this Porsche Cayenne, right? It was in 2018, and it was used, pre-owned, or whatever. And I'm thinking, like, man, I really want that, but what I can afford is something different. You know what I mean? So that's the thing with Buddy Hield. Like we see Buddy Hield as being the answer to a lot of our flaws, right? And he is. But the asking price for him may be out of the realm of what we're looking to pay. You know what I'm saying? We may be able to afford him, but are we willing to give up that much? I think a package for Buddy Hield can start with a Kevin Knox, a Frank Ntilikina, a DSJ, maybe some second round picks. I mean, for a guy that's probably the most prolific 3-point shooter ever, and that's not hyperbole. Statistics.
Can I say something? And this is what kills me about.
Wait a minute. Let me finish.
Oh no, go ahead.
So Buddy Hield is the most prolific 3-point shooter to ever play the game. He's on pace in terms of 3-pointers made per game and attempts. A lot of that has to do with the era that he plays in, not the fact that he's better than Larry Bird or better than Jerry West. I'm not saying that. The era that he plays in is conducive to guys shooting, attempting, and making more 3-pointers. Is what I'm getting at with Buddy Hield. And if we can add that, say for a Kevin Knox and some second round picks, man, I say let's do it.
Yeah. A couple things. He actually doesn't have that bad of a contract freeze. This year he's getting $24 million, but he has a descending contract. Next year he has a $22 million contract. The year after, a $20 million contract, and his last season $18.5. So, which is for the talent you just talked about, that's pretty good. But on the other hand, it would make no sense for the Kings to make that. They didn't sign Bogey, so he's out of there. He's their only shooting guard. If he goes, only the kid Jamius Ramsey, the rookie out of Texas Tech, is their shooting guard. And I don't think Halliburton, who they got in the draft, that he's that, he's really that type of player to take a sniper role like Buddy does. So just want to throw that in there.
But they do have a 3-guard rotation though with the 3 young guys, with Fox, with Jamias Ramsey, and with Tyrese Halliburton. Yeah.
I wanted to point this out. We all get on Kevin Knox and Frank and DSJ right now about they're not doing it and they're not producing, they're garbage, they're whatever, which means that their trade value is low. So why would somebody else give up a really good asset for what we as fans consider to be bad assets? And why would a team do that? Like, you know what? I'm going to give you one of the best shooters in the league for Kevin Knox when we feel like Kevin Knox isn't doing anything.
Okay. I understand what you mean. So the thing is the trades have to be equal, right? So we take on we take on Buddy Hield, and they take on 3 guys that fit exactly what they're looking to do. Steven just said that they have Jamias Ramsey, Tyrese Halliburton, and Swiper, right? So they have De'Aaron Fox, Halliburton, Jamias Ramsey. To that, they would add Dennis Smith Jr. and Frank Ntilikina, right? So automatically, before they go any further, they add defense to their backcourt that has been a sieve defensively. Now they have Halliburton and Frank in their backcourt, right? They add a Kevin Knox. So I'm not for sure what they have at small forward, but I think Kevin Knox can walk into that situation and compete for minutes. And then you give them draft picks so a small market franchise, you give them draft picks. Free agents are not signing there. So now you give them the ability to select their own players, right? For a guy that's going to be coming off their bench, making about 18, 19 mil a year. He legit is coming off their bench, right? So we give them DSJ, Knox, Frank draft picks for a guy coming off the bench.
Buddy Hield starts now.
You think that highly of Buddy Hield?
Yes, and in our situation,
he can shoot. Come on, Rob. That man is a great shooter.
He can't guard a fire hydrant.
Right.
Yeah.
But we have Thibodeau.
And he still won't guard a fire hydrant.
And also he has issues. Attitude issues.
And you want all that. Plus he can't guard a fire hydrant.
Well, I would say this. I saw Kevin Knox brick 5 3-pointers, or was it 4 3-pointers the other day?
5 over the last 2 days.
Yeah.
It's not even in one game. It's over 2 games.
But okay, so if you give the greatest 3-point shooter statistically, I'm saying, and I say it in this mindset, just look at it like this, like Craig Biggio was probably the greatest compiler of stats at second base in history, right? But he is not Joe Morgan, right? So I'm not saying Craig Biggio is Joe Morgan. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying Buddy Hield is Larry Bird. What I'm saying is Buddy Hield solves an issue immediately. If Buddy Hield got open looks like that from 3, the results are different, right? And if Buddy Hield doesn't get those looks, if Buddy Hield doesn't get, so say the defenders don't sag off and they glue Buddy Hield, right? RJ Barrett scores 33 points that game. You know what I'm saying? You can't have both. You can't sag in the paint and glue a perimeter player. It's just not how defenses work. You can't be. You're not the Matrix. You can't be in 2 places at one time.
I'm going to ask a question. Who would make this team better? And I'm just giving this as a scenario. Buddy Hield or Ricky Rubio?
That's easy, Ricky.
So why are you giving up so much for Hill? and Rubio won't cost you half of that.
Yeah, I think he's only $8 million a year.
Yeah.
Rubio? Rubio
Yeah.
makes 17.
You sure? Let me look it up real quick.
Believe it or not.
And you can get him with a straight up Randall deal than doing this Buddy Hill deal. That's not going to help the team. He can't create his own shot. He can't play defense. All he is a shooter who shot league average 41%, a little more than league average 40% from three. And he can't do nothing else for you. And
Big dog, league average is 35%.
I said a little bit more than league average.
Right.
And he's not going to do nothing else for you that somebody else can do. If you want no defense, can't create his own shot, and then you're still lacking a point guard for him because he only can work off a point guard, and you're going to throw all of them access at Sacramento for Buddy Hill, we might as well kept Mills.
Right.
Kevin, you're right, man. 17 million for the next couple of years, basically. You're right.
So here's the thing. What are those assets done for you? Y'all team lost to Detroit last night.
It's wait and see right now what these assets are going to do.
I'm not going to take all of that salary, and he's not doing anything for us.
All of what salary? It's a salary match.
No, I don't need the match. I'd rather keep what I got to get somebody that can't create his own shot. He can't guard. All he can do is shoot the three, and it takes me another point guard to get him shots because he can't get it.
Answer my question. Answer my question. Who would benefit this team better, a Ricky Rubio or a Buddy Hield?
Buddy Hield.
Buddy Hield complements this team better than what Ricky Rubio would do, because Ricky Rubio feels the most important need that we have.
Rob, let me agree with each other, man. And also, Kevin opened it up with connecting the dots. It's crazy how close Julius Randle's contract is with Rubio. They're almost, basically right on top. Exactly a match, give or take $1 million. You throw a player in there, but it'd be a match made in heaven.
And then to make that work, you're gonna have to drop a guard because you're gonna have to get somebody to back up Obi. And you're gonna have to pull up Omari Spellman to back him up, and you're gonna have to drop a guard. Or drop Iggy, or somebody else that's on the team. You're gonna have to drop them.
But like you said, you get a Rubio, the development, he would be a coach on that floor.
Wrong. I'm just saying that's what will have to happen.
I agree.
I'm gonna just say, basically so the team with the number 1 pick in the draft, right? The Minnesota Timberwolves, right? They earned it. Their team is trash, right? So y'all want to take the backup point guard from one of the worst teams in the league and bring him here and start.
Well, the thing about Rubio is Rubio wasn't the backup. He just got traded to Minnesota
from Utah.
Right. Is he starting for Minnesota?
He's not going to start over D'Lo.
Yeah, he's not going to start over Russell.
Right. So wait. So y'all telling me that y'all going to take a dude that legit is the backup point guard for the worst team in the league and bring him here, and he gonna start?
Hold on. Are you trying to say that Ricky Rubio is a backup point guard in this league?
Oh, and also, if his skills are not better than our current roster of point guards.
You just said Ricky Rubio doesn't want to be a backup point guard. You just said that, right?
He wasn't.
He's never been a backup. His numbers and his production say that he is a starting point guard. Right.
But you
which is another reason why it would behoove Minnesota to move him if Minnesota has a glaring weakness
at power forward.
And they do, man.
Because Rubio is a luxury for them to have.
They just got rid of James Johnson. So, yeah.
No, man. When it comes to the luxury thing, is Obi Toppin is a luxury for us. Because we have a guy.
Rubio is a luxury for Minnesota.
So how does it not apply? The same? Like there's a veteran incumbent, and then you bring in another guy to the same position.
Because you have a $17 million guy sitting on the bench, and you can get a guy that would come in about the same price who could be starting in that 4 position.
We can make a switch. We can go DSJ with Randall, so they'll have another guard.
That's killing 2 birds with 1 stone right there.
Yeah, in my opinion, man, I think Rubio is a darn good guard, right?
He's only 32.
That's what I was going. So that's what I was going to get at. So he's a darn good guard and has a reputation for being a good defender, excellent passer, and his shooting is coming along, right?
And he can get to the rim.
Right.
My only issue with him is potential injuries.
And 17 mil, I'm not for sure if I want to put all that money, because now you're talking about you probably have about $50 million or $40 million in the point guard position. You know what I'm saying? You're talking about your DSJ and Frank. That's about 13 million. You bring in Rubio, that's 30 million.
But you
then
send
But if you package one of them with Randall to
10 million,
make it work.
Yeah.
So y'all saying our 20? Okay. So our 20 and 10 power forward to Minnesota for a dude that can't even start for his own team.
It's only because he has a guy like Russell ahead of him.
He got a 24-year-old all-star in front of him.
Yeah, thank you.
Right. So y'all, okay. So that's
Minnesota. I have no idea why Minnesota even brought him back.
It was something to do. It had something to do with something. Because matter of fact, he was with the Suns.
Yeah, he was with the Suns.
Trade it's something that happened with. It was a trade or something that that they did. They did something.
Did they move him to make room for CP3?
They did something.
They did. They did. You nailed it.
I think that's why. I think they moved him to make room
CP3.
for Chris Paul.
Exactly. That's what they did.
And he had a Steve Nash impact with the Suns. He made them much better quickly.
He was part of
He looked good in the bubble
run. He was part of the 8-0 bubble run.
So Freeze, we put it out. What do you think?
My thing is I think we're overvaluing prospects that are busts and not giving enough and undervaluing a guy that's 20 and 10 and is proving it in the league.
Yeah, but it's a point guard. A point guard impacts the development of all our kids, and the 4 doesn't as much, obviously.
What TL said that we shouldn't be trading.
I don't know what just happened.
I think God agreed with us. Mr. Wright, we're a good team together, I think.
I think everybody in the chat is like, Freezy is just wilding out tonight. Because the obvious answer is Rubio makes his team better than what Randall and or Buddy Hield would do. Because Rubio is that floor general that's going to make everyone around him better. He's going to put everyone in the best spots to be successful. Randall's not going to do that. Buddy Hield needs the point guard to do that.
Yeah, and also, even if we draft, and God willing we do, in 2020 and our point guard of the future, what better mentor than a Rubio is with a kid like that?
Mm-hmm.
It just makes too much sense, especially if you know that Obi's top end. Especially if you know that Obi is the future, and you give Obi a point guard like Rubio to help flourish and speed up his development, because you know he'll work better. One, you put Obi in the lineup with RJ at that point. So you have RJ and Obi together. Excuse me. With Rubio running the show. I mean, I don't see how that's not a win-win situation.
But
dream come true.
But and so a couple people in the chat agree with me, and they say the same thing I've been. Saying Buddy Hield needs a point guard to get his shot is crazy.
Because he can't dribble.
You bugging. Have you seen Buddy?
Look at any highlight of Buddy Hield where he putting handles down.
That also, statistically,
I watched him. He don't put down handle. I watched him in Oklahoma. He does not put down handle.
Hey man, okay.
And I could just see the MSG crowd screaming.
He can shoot standing still. He does not go to the basket. He'll do 1 step, 2 dribble, pull up. That's his game.
That's his game. Pull up. That's what I meant.
Y'all are wrong, man. That's not Buddy Hield game. Yeah, have y'all watched Buddy Hield lately?
Yes.
Y'all are bugging. Y'all
Yes.
are bugging. Y'all, we need to come to the table with facts, because that's
Man, that is
is speculation. You basically you're saying that Buddy Hield is a Klay Thompson type player on offense.
No, Klay can put the ball down.
At the most. He doesn't defend
Oh,
like
goodness.
Klay. He doesn't defend like Klay, though.
Nah, he don't defend like Klay. He don't defend like Klay. That's a fact. Klay Thompson is a way better. Klay Thompson may be the best defender at 2 guard in the league. Maybe. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying that Buddy is a defender. What I'm saying is Buddy Hield puts the ball on the floor. Buddy Hield can score. If Buddy Hield came here and got the green light, Buddy may average 28 points a game here.
But whoever he's guarding gonna get 27.
Okay.
And also, you got to look at this. It puts RJ at a disadvantage if we all know that RJ looks better at the 2,
right,
than he does at the 3.
Right.
So you're still weakening the RJ by bringing in Buddy, because 1, Buddy don't play defense, and 2, RJ's better at that position.
I can't. Hey, so okay. So I'm gonna say this, and then I'm gonna dip out, right? So Ricky Rubio has accomplished nothing in the NBA, right? Like legit, y'all gonna tell me that Ricky Rubio is a game changer at point guard? He's gonna impact winning and all these type things, right? And then when I look at his resume, his resume says the opposite. His resume says that he played for a whole bunch of lottery teams, had no impact on winning, is not an all-star level guy.
That's not true.
Okay, it's not true. Okay,
it's not true.
So how many times did the Minnesota Timberwolves make the playoffs with Ricky Rubio?
Hey, look, he just got there, but he played.
No, he started there, Rob. He started there.
No, he played with Mitchell.
Oh yeah, he was in Utah.
He started his career there.
So what were you? You can't pick who picked you.
Hold on. Let me burst this bubble. You just said Ricky Rubio hasn't done anything, but yet you jump on the defense of Julius Randle, who has literally done nothing himself.
But you moving the goalposts. We talking about Ricky Rubio. You moving the goalposts.
But your argument was Ricky Rubio has put up no stats, and he hasn't done anything to winning.
To the playoffs.
But Julius Randle is not a point guard. Why are you moving the goalpost side to side?
Rubio been to the playoffs as a starting guard with Utah.
With Utah.
Alongside of Mitchell.
Right.
And like I said, his skill set fits what this team needs.
Hey, Rob, did that team make the playoffs the year before Rubio got there?
Did they make the
were they a playoff team before Rubio got there?
No, because I think Rubio came when Mitchell came. How long he was in Utah? I think he was there a little bit before. What?
He was in Utah for
I'm not 100% positive,
seasons.
but I think he was the impact that got them to the playoffs.
His first season in Utah was 17-18.
17, so he left in 20. So he's been there 3 years. So I would have to say yes.
Okay. All right.
I
can see that one, man. Y'all think Rubio? Y'all think Ricky Rubio's the answer? Yeah, I can see that. I mean, my only thing is I'm not giving up Randall for him. I'm not giving up a 20 and 10 power forward for Raisin Brand. You know what I'm saying? I'm not giving up State for Raisin Brand. I mean, I just now maybe y'all would. I mean, some people like stuff like that, but
hey, look, Randall ain't never been in the playoffs. Rubio has. We need a point guard.
But Julius Randle, Julius Randle
Spellman behind him. So why do we really need Randall?
Checkmate.
No, that's y'all playing. I don't know about that, man. I don't know. I
look at this. Also, do you feel like as the season goes on, and we need a point? Point guard is the most important. Is the thing that we need the most. Randall probably more than likely isn't going to be here next year. If Rubio is the best option that we have, to get, because there's no other options available that we can get at that position, at least you're getting something for Julius, because you know that Obi, you feel like Obi is the future.
Hey, hold on for just a second. Hey, shout out to who this is, Finesse. Hey, Finesse. Hey, if you new, put a thumbs up in the chat so we can welcome you to the chat. So we can make you feel a part of the family. And to Kev's point, real quick, I'm gonna jump off real quick, but to Kev's point, man, I think y'all are using the argument like when dudes used to coach kids and the kid does like slide and get a bruise or a cut or something, and they look at it and be like, hey man, just spit on it, it'll make it better. No, dog, that's Ricky Rubio. No, you had all offseason to go get a point guard and you didn't. And then now that you have now your blister is showing, you want to go out and get a Ricky Rubio traded 20 and 10 guy. No, man, I can't see that. If we're gonna go out and get a point guard, we need to go out and get a point guard with the mindset that they'll be here long enough with the kids to help the young point guards behind them get better and help everybody else develop. I don't see Ricky Rubio helping Kevin Knox turn the corner. I just can't see that.
Why
hey,
now?
Welcome, Finesse.
I see it. If he's a point guard and he can be the stopgap until you get one in the draft on top of that, because he's only 32 years old. It's not
30.
like
30.
people were talking about Chris Paul. He's 36. This
Right.
man 32. He can be
30.
a little bit longer to make the jump for a point. He can train a point guard under him easily.
But
I don't see where your logic is at, Freegee.
But you comparing one of the greatest point guards to ever play the position at Chris Paul.
No,
So
we're
Ricky
talking
Rubio.
about a stopgap. We're not talking about he can do the same job.
No, he can't do the same job. Ricky Rubio is not one of the greatest point guards to ever play.
Well,
They
look,
can't do the
he's
same
36
job.
years old. You would have kept
He's
Chris
a high
Paul
IQ
for 1
player.
year.
Right.
High level.
And we don't have IQ right now, so he would fill that void. And
High IQ,
yeah,
get
numbers
to the
match up
basket,
nicely.
set up players. That's what they need. They don't
It's
need
foul
nobody,
shots.
They don't need nobody who's going to be asking for more shots.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, we don't know what these kids need. If we knew it, Kevin Knox would already have blossomed.
We
know they need a point guard.
10 years.
No, they need a point guard.
No,
That's really hard to figure out.
Kev, they don't need just any point guard. That's the point I'm getting at. You saying they need a point guard? They already have point guards on the roster.
So you're trying to say they need a high IQ point guard.
A high IQ point
They
guard.
need a high IQ point guard that's going to set them up and run the offense.
So
It
you
sounds
agree,
like Ricky Rubio.
so you agree with me now?
No, I'm saying
No, wait.
You said, hold on. What do they need? They need a point guard who has a high IQ,
Right.
that's going to set up the offense, that's going to put the players in the best position to succeed, and not make boneheaded mistakes. That's a good shooter, a good defender. It sounds like Ricky Rubio checks all those boxes.
No, so you taking the stuff that I said in previous streams and applying it right now. I've always said the Knicks needed a floor general at point guard.
Nobody never disagreed with you. Everybody agreed with you.
No, man, but in this conversation, y'all have been saying the Knicks need a point guard. The Knicks need a point guard. The Knicks.
So are you trying to say that you would be fine with Ricky Rubio if it didn't require giving up Julius Randle?
Partly. I want to pay market value for Ricky Rubio. I don't want to overpay for Ricky Rubio.
You're not. His contract is already set.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I think you could. Okay, so I think
it's $17 million fair value for Ricky Rubio.
That's not what I'm saying. What I'm telling you is you can get more for Julius Randle in another deal. 20 and 10 is not 10 and 5.
But if it's not bringing you back what you need, why does it matter?
Thank you.
Because are you winning the championship?
It's a mutual gratification society. It fills their needs and it fills our needs. Not a lot of other things too.
Fair exchange is robbery. We get what we need.
I think y'all's thinking is off. I think y'all just want to do something just to do it. It sounds to me like y'all are itching to do a trade because y'all didn't get that trade satisfaction earlier in free agency.
Oh, we're in desperate need of IQ.
It's not going to do anything but it's going to advance the team to the next level. Not championship, but it's going to be a whole lot better than Randall.
Nah,
and I'm not a Randall hater.
So in the grand scheme of things, I want Obi Toppin to start, right? But what I would like to do is get fair market value for Julius Randle on the open market.
What do you think is fair market value for Julius Randle?
I'm not for sure, but I don't want Ricky Rubio in return. That's for sure. I don't want to trade a 25-year-old 20 and 10 for a 32-year-old point guard that's making 17
30.
million.
6 versus 30.
He's 30.
So
wait, y'all say that like that improved, like that improved y'all's argument. Like y'all just, oh, he's not 32,
hey, look,
30.
You on the back end really, Freezy. It's not us. It's you on the back end. It's not us. What you doing to improve your argument?
No, man. I'm just saying. I think you can trade a second round pick to get Ricky Rubio and not have to match contract. And okay, all right.
They will not give
the value
you
of a high IQ point guard like that. Oh,
right.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll send a second round pick for whoever's the backup. Who's coming off the bench? D'Angelo Russell? No. Kev just said it's Ricky Rubio, right? So the Knicks gonna give up more than that for a backup? Are we?
We're not talking about just any backup though.
Look, they thought that they could have put him on the team and then waived him.
So other teams' players are more valuable than the Knicks players. I got you.
I got you. Other teams
players. Why are you saying that Ricky? Just because he's the backup technically right now, that doesn't mean that he's like a career backup. He's a career starter.
No, what I'm saying is it's the LOL Knicks theory. Other teams' players have more value than our players. That's what y'all are saying.
In this situation, he has more value to the Knicks than Randall do. In this situation,
right? Because that's what makes it LOL Knicks. Because that's always the argument.
No, it's not, because you're trading him for something that you have on your team that's not doing you. That's not going to advance you. This will advance us.
I think Minnesota is motivated because they draft. I think it was undrafted. No, I think they absolutely drafted him in the second round. Ashton Higgins out of Kentucky, who I really liked as maybe a 38 pick for us, but he's a real dog. And I think maybe they're thinking that Rubio could be expendable because he would come in as the backup.
So a second round pick out of Kentucky is just as valuable as Ricky Rubio, and y'all want to trade all this stuff to get him.
No, it was the 4 that's valuable to them. Meaning Randall is valued to go into that lineup, and they have a kid that could back up, but they were in desperate need of a 4.
This is a position need.
So TL thinks I'm trolling. TL's like, yo, hey, man, Uncle Freezy trolling and blah blah blah. But I'm saying,
just you make that crazy.
No, but just what Steven said. Steven said they acquired a dude, Ashton Higgins, right? A second round pick out of Kentucky, who I know he could be a good player someday, right? But just the fact that he's in a conversation with Ricky Rubio lets me think, like, why do y'all think Ricky Rubio is going to be that guy? Look, if he was just compared to Ashton Higgins?
It's like this.
You realize that Phoenix had to basically dump Ricky Rubio. As you say, he's not Chris Paul. Chris Paul is a Hall of Fame point guard. So you're like, okay, we need to clear salary to get a Hall of Fame point guard. You dump Ricky Rubio to get a Hall of Fame point guard.
yeah.
So unless you can get a Hall of Fame point guard, which I don't think.
Kevin.
You traded that spot so you could get a Hall of Fame, not no second round pick, but a Hall of Fame point guard. But
we're not trading. We're not talking about trading anything with the Phoenix Suns. Y'all keep moving the goalposts. Now you moving the goalposts.
No. Your argument was you just said they traded this Andrew. They traded who's the guy they traded for Rubio?
Chris Paul? What?
No. Who did
I don't know how the trade went down. That's what I'm saying.
Like I said, they traded him.
They had to
to
free up
create space
yeah,
to get Chris Paul.
Right.
So there's hey, we need a team that can take on. I don't know why the Knicks didn't jump on it in the beginning, but they didn't. Maybe there's something that Minnesota's like
they don't value Ricky Rubio.
Well, we'll see.
Because so you're trying to say they value Elfrid Payton more than Ricky Rubio?
But think about this. If the Knicks, who had a deficit at point guard, knew Ricky Rubio was on the open market and they didn't trade for him, that means they didn't value him. And y'all, so y'all keep moving the
goal. 17th pick in the first round for him.
Okay, so they traded the 17th pick in the first round for Ricky Rubio. That's saying a lot.
Yeah, he be running. I think he's doing that on purpose.
Yeah, gentlemen, we totally agree that the value that Rubio would bring to this team from quality, from an IQ, from helping the kids develop, it'd be a win-win in every way. And Randall would be hopefully a win-win for Minnesota, but we'd get that negative energy that we were talking about earlier tonight out of here, and let Rubio get to do the sets right, do the things right. Yeah, Freezy, I love you, man, but you should have settled this out of court.
Hey, look, let's end that on that note before he come back.
Yeah. So last thing, just again, thank you to our wonderful chat, all of our members. We just appreciate everything. Thanks again for hitting the like, subscribe, and reminder buttons to support our boy Freezy. Don't forget his show in the morning, Knicks Morning Drive at 8 a.m. Again, if you caught it this morning, it was fire. Shout out to the greatest mods known to man, Sima Bodega, New York Knicks. Your efforts, again, are greatly appreciated. And always, fellas, it's an honor to talk with you on a nightly basis because I learned a lot. And Freezy, we missed you tonight, and hopefully we'll be seeing you soon. And with that, God bless everyone.
All right.
Have a night. Let's do it again tomorrow.
Tomorrow.